welcome everyone to episode 87 of the Battlecast podcast. I'm your host, Caleb Peng, joined by my co-host and world traveler, Speedy Chief 2.
Dude, time traveler as well. I think we all are from this past weekend.
Dude, I don't know, man. It sounds like you lost some time based on how you're traveling. You're supposed to gain
Dude.
some time on the way back. Yo, so if you all don't know, myself and Speedy Chief 2 were in Australia for about a little over a week. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Based on, and then Speedy was on a plane for a little over a week as well. Based on his. So anyway, if this podcast is delayed, I think, yeah, it'll be delayed by like at least an hour or so for the audio, and then the video is probably going to take a few hours to process. It'll be delayed a few hours. We apologize, but there's a good reason for this. We're literally recording on February 22nd, the day it gets released in the morning because of travel issues. But yeah, what happened? What happened? You just got back like last night, right? You were supposed to get back. For context, you're supposed to get back on Monday. Today is Wednesday.
Yeah, bro. So for all of our YouTube watchers and listeners, I'm gonna give you a visual aid. So these are my boarding passes for the way there, right? 3, right? Which is like, it could be worse.
Oh, it
could
looked
be
like
worse.
4 at first.
Dude, these are my passes and such for the way back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
No
6.
dude. The visual aid, man.
The visual aid, yeah. I have so many boarding passes here. I can hold them like a hand, like cards. Like, look at this. Look at this. This is insane. Anyways, for all of you that are listening just to the podcast, I appreciate you so much. I've got probably about 10 pieces of paper here. These are my documents. Anyways, so I'll tell it fast because I know this is it's going to be a lot. So Monday we were supposed to leave, flight directly to Dallas, and then back home for me. And if you're not watching the YouTube, you're missing out here. This is pretty cute.
WWE right here, man.
Yeah, but we were supposed to leave on Monday. But the flight got canceled because there was a problem with one of the engines. So it wasn't only me, it was actually all of the Paperlight crew as well, which is production crew. And they did this crazy thing where they still left that day, but they spent like 8 hours in a layover in in Los Angeles, and then they flew to Dallas after that because that was their final destination. But for me, I'd have to overnight in LA, which I was just like, you know what, I'll just stay one more night in Melbourne. So the next morning, I'm supposed to take off at 11. I get down to the line to check in with Qantas, and I'm standing there for 45 minutes before I get checked in. Get through security. It takes me about 10 minutes. I get to my gate at 9, and they're like, you know what? We're going to change the gate. We're changing it to gate 12. I'm like, okay. So everybody's walking down to the gate, and then we all sit down waiting for the gate. And this is actually like Caleb and I had a phone call at this point too because I was there for so long.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, everybody sit at the gate. And then we're all sitting there. And then they said, actually, we have to do some security checks. So if everyone can move to gate 13 and sit over there, we're going to rope this section off and like do security checks. So everybody had to get up and move like 20 feet to the right. And then they actually did that. They
what's security? What do you mean? Like, what were they checking? Like,
I don't even know. No. They had to rope off the gate for some reason. And then I just watched the flight staff just kind of stand around and talk for like 30 minutes. Dude. So long story short, we end up leaving an hour late, right?
We also left an hour late too. We were just sitting on the plane for an hour. I was also Qantas
as well. Oh man, yeah, I'm starting to sense a theme here.
I know. No Wi-Fi on the plane for 16 hours. I never buy Wi-Fi on the plane, but I was like, this will be the time I'll buy it, right? 16 hours,
right?
No option, dude. No option.
No Wi-Fi. And no subtitles on any of the movies. I actually found
most of the subtitles had Chinese subtitles as an option if you had any, which like I can't read and most people can't read. So
yeah, I can't read that either, to be honest. But anyways, we get done with that. We're getting ready to take off and we leave. And because we're an hour late, I had like 3 hours in LA to connect because I was going Melbourne to LA to Dallas to home, right? Is essentially how I was doing it. And we get to LA, I get like an express pass because we're already an hour late, and I get through. I get off the plane. I go to immigration. I get through immigration. I go to luggage. I have to wait like 10 minutes for the luggage to start rolling out. I get that. I run in. I recheck it, right, and then I'm like running to the terminal, and like my dude, this is my first time in LAX. I know you're a bit more familiar.
Hmm.
Huge airport,
It's pretty
and
big.
my gate was like it had some like 4-letter acronym or something. It wasn't like gate A or T or 52, whatever. It was just like the terminal was like a 4-letter acronym. So I have to get help with that.
Oh, yeah, 'cause so the terminals are spaced pretty far apart. So I will say this, Atlanta is also one of the biggest airports,
Yeah.
but it is 1,000 times more easy to navigate. Like, you have the tram and
Yes,
stuff, right? Very
dude.
easy. Dude, LA, like, you literally, like, have to, like, walk over, like, another 10, 15, 20 minutes. It's not there's
Yes.
no easy way. Or you take a
No, you're
shuttle,
exactly
which
right.
shuttles are you like, which shuttle? Because there's, like, 5, 6 different types of shuttles you could take. Yeah,
Dude, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd say Atlanta's one of the easier to navigate. Dallas has like a plane train, which actually is on like
Mhm.
this track, like 5 stories up that you take
Yeah, yeah,
around.
yeah.
But
Most
luckily my
places
gate.
have that. LA
Yeah,
doesn't.
right?
Yeah.
Right? In LA, you just have to hoof it. And so luckily my gate ended up being in the same terminal that I arrived. And I was like, okay, sweet. I just had to go upstairs. So I get upstairs, I go through security. I'm like rushing, right? I'm like, okay, I got to connect. I've got like 30 minutes till boarding starts. I got to go. I get through security, and then of course my carry-on bag gets flagged because I
Mhm.
have like 3 boxes of Tim Tams in it. So
One of them's are mine, so
yeah, yeah, I'm holding some snacks here, and
yeah.
they have to like pull it to the side. I have to wait for like 5 minutes for somebody to get over there to like inspect the bag, and then they inspect it, right? And they're moving at the speed of light. Let me tell you. And I get my bag and I get down to the gate.
Yo, that's the slowest moving light I've probably ever seen.
Dude, I get all the way down to the gate. I made it in time. I'm like, all right, this is great. Like I'm actually making good progress here. I can connect. I like call my dad. I'm like, yo, I made it back to the States. I'm gonna connect. I'm gonna go to Dallas. And I stand there. I wait for group 7 to be called, right? That's my ticket. And I scan my boarding pass and they're like, I'm sorry, sir, but you've been rebooked to a different flight.
Oh, no. How are you
I'm
supposed to
like,
know that? Did they ever
they
notify
didn't
you?
tell me. No.
No email, no
No. And
text, no nothing?
yeah, my ticket was with Qantas and American Airlines, but the American Airlines app wouldn't update for anything. It didn't tell me anything. So I'm like, okay, what the hell? I got rebooked. They said, yeah, your flight's actually like in an hour and a half. And I was like, well, it could be worse, right? Uh, but okay. So I walk over to the desk, and the guy's like, "Oh yeah, you've been rebooked. I can't really like print you the entire itinerary, but let me take a picture of the computer screen to show you like in our internal logs what flights you're on." And like, hold on, let me show you.
Dude,
So
I
this
learned a
is,
valuable lesson here. It's time to move.
dude, this is what I get. It's like literally a blue
What
screen.
in the world is
It's a
this?
blue screen with a bunch of data on it, right? And it
Yeah.
literally says my flights. And he prints me one boarding pass. And he says, "Okay, so you're not on American all the way back. We actually switched your final flight to Delta. Like, why not?" so, so I have to change terminals this time. And just like you pointed out, I have to walk like 20 minutes to my terminal. And
Mhm.
not only that, but instead of connecting in Dallas, I actually connect in Atlanta now instead.
Yeah.
So I get to the terminal, I fly to Atlanta. I get to Atlanta, I've got like 3 hours layover, and luckily, I just go to the Delta help desk and they print me off a ticket. And then there's one more twist, right? It's not over yet. And then I I get on my flight, I get back to Mississippi. The twist here is that my bag was already on the way on a different flight, so my check bag
Mm.
is headed to Gulfport like 2 hours before I get there.
Yeah.
And I arrive in Gulfport, and I walk downstairs. I go to the American Airlines help desk, and I'm like, all right, I need to tell them about my check bag. It's got all my suits, all my clothes, a bunch of stuff in it.
Mhm.
And the guy walks out, and he's like, "What's your last name?" I said Dunphy. He said, "Oh man, you're not going to believe this. Look at this." And he holds up a piece of paper, and on that paper is a handwritten note saying, "This is Will Dunphy's bag. It was delivered on American Airlines, but he is going to arrive on the Delta flight." So he was on his way to bring it to baggage claim, and I just like intercepted him.
Oh, wow.
So
Dude, I'm surprised, like, something actually worked in your favor here. I was
I,
like, "Oh, you're not
I
gonna believe
know.
this, but your bag actually exploded," you know, like
You're not gonna believe this, but we sent your bag back to Melbourne. It's
yeah,
like,
yeah. We saw some
but
Australian snacks, and we knew it was on the way there, right? Not the way here.
dude, exactly. But yeah, long story short, I got my bag and it was like 1 hour back. My travel time in total, I actually did like one of those time elapse calculators. My travel time to Australia was 28 hours. My travel
Uh-huh.
time back from the time I woke up to the time I walked like into the house was 29 hours. So It was tough, dude. It was tough.
Ew, that's tough. Yeah, so you know how people complain about LAX and everything? I
Oh yeah.
actually completely now understand, especially if the transfer flights, especially international flights, right? But even different like airlines, you have to go from like a different terminal to another. It's a pain.
Yeah.
I actually luckily never had to experience that because I just get off and I go, right? So
And you just go home.
yeah, I just go home. I will say too, getting to like the place where you Uber or Lyft is also you have to take a shuttle to get to there. I used to walk it though, which was like a 20 something minute walk or 15,
Yeah.
20-minute walk. But now I learned better and I just don't walk it. I just take the shuttle. But still, you have to take a shuttle and you have to wait for them to pull up to the area. So, I mean, I
Sheesh.
think a lot of big airports have something to that degree. Like Atlanta is also not the greatest for that regard.
True.
But I think the moral story is you need to move to a place with a bigger airport, man.
Dude, I'm telling you. I think that
Yeah.
would solve it. If I was stopping in LAX, if I was stopping in Dallas, whatever, I'd be fine. It's
Yeah.
just like all these connections.
How much you travel to? Hey, come down to LA, you know?
Dude.
We could
I
we could do the
I took a
podcast in person. Like it was a lot of things.
bro, I took a video of downtown LA as I was
Mhm.
landing. That was actually my first time in LA. I've been in San
Oh,
Francisco
okay.
before.
Gotcha.
But I couldn't find the Hollywood sign. I couldn't see it from the air.
Dude, just if you're in my neighborhood, you can see it right down the street, you know?
Dude.
Right on the rooftop. There's a lot of people here, so I'm like doxing myself a little bit, but good luck trying to find me in Hollywood. You're gonna find some other
Yeah,
stuff
for real.
beforehand. You're gonna dude, I'm
There are a lot
I'm protected, yo. Like this place got natural protection.
dude, there are a
You
lot
get
more weird people than Caleb in LA.
exactly. You don't have to go through the trenches to find me, right? So,
Oh my god.
but anyway, um, well,
Yeah.
glad to hear you made it safe. Glad that you got all your luggage. And this man's traveling again in like 2 days, right? What?
2
No, no.
days.
No, I'm actually not even kidding. Like I said 2 days, like jokingly, but it actually is 2 days because you'll be
Yeah.
commentating the Knoxville Regional.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I
Oh,
got 48 hours at home and then I leave again.
yeah,
Dude.
yeah. Well,
I take
good
it
luck.
I take it your flight back wasn't as bad, right?
No, it was delayed like an hour. Um, we were literally just sitting on the tarmac in the
Mhm.
plane waiting. And I didn't even have service. Like I had service. I had like 3 or 4 bars of data, but like I couldn't actually go on the internet for some reason.
Yeah,
So like
weird,
people
right?
are talking to me right before I hopped on plane. I was just gonna say like, all right, I'm headed off. Talk to you in like like a day, like 16 hours or
Yeah,
something. And
for
like
real.
not, I couldn't say anything. So
Dude,
it's
the
like, all
the
right,
Qantas airplane, I think it literally blocked cell signal because I was trying to send messages,
same thing,
and
right?
when we actually took off, we were probably a few hundred feet in the air.
Mhm.
Like two of my texts went through, and then all the rest got
Oh,
blocked
but not
again.
when you're sitting on the tarmac. Yeah, yeah, that's
Exactly.
exactly my experience. I just gave up at a certain point. Um, but I started watching that show. I finished that show, Physical 100. I was telling you about too.
Oh, dude, for real? How was it?
It's good. It's great. It was literally like Squid Games in real life. It's pretty great.
Dude, I
Yeah.
need to
So
watch it.
it was a good time. Um, but it was, yeah, some interesting storylines too. Anyway, it was just some Netflix show I was telling Speedy about back
Yeah,
over
yeah.
in Australia.
If you
Um,
know, you know.
if you know, you know. If you don't know, you should check it out to know. But we got lots to cover today. Excuse me. So we got questions from episode 85, the loser,
Yes.
the lower, and the secondary. That's the name of that episode. But we haven't we didn't really get over we didn't get a chance to cover that because the last episode we had a guest, so we didn't want to spend time talking about that. So let's cover it. DeFi 250, or as Speedy would like to say, DeFi.
Defy.
DeFi. Dude, I
In
can't,
my
man.
mind, defy.
She going to Knoxville, right?
Yeah, yeah, I believe
Let's
she
see how
is.
many times you call her Defy and how many times you call her DeFi.
Dude, I don't have the mental bandwidth for this. I need to remember her
Are
name.
you gonna
Just
like
kidding.
are you gonna do like back and forth? Like it's almost
I
like
should,
some like Pokemon pronunciations. Like I hate saying like Ferrothorn, so I try not to say it, but
dude.
once in a while I throw it in there because that's correct pronunciation instead of Ferrothorn.
Dude, we did drop in
Dude, I
Melbourne.
can't. Yeah, dude. For people that don't know, it's pronounced Dropian, not
Oh,
Drapion. Dude, how Dropian, Tropius instead of Tropius. I mean, it makes sense because like trop as in like tropical, but still, it just sounds so
sure.
much worse, right?
It's so weird, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dropion, Drapion, we switched it up.
All right. Anyway, the question is, from DeFi. If Caleb hasn't seen the Studio Ghibli movies, that would be my recommendation. I have seen quite a few actually. I've seen Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, Howl's Moving Castle,
Okay,
some other ones too. So
it's a
I'm
good
a fan,
start.
but there's a lot. There's a lot I haven't seen. Have you seen any Studio Ghibli movies?
Yeah, I saw all the ones you listed, and I think a couple more.
They're super trippy too. Honestly, like I've never done like shrooms or like acid or any type of those kind of drugs, like hallucinogens. But it almost feels like, oh, also if you're listening, don't do drugs. I'm not advocating for it. Yeah, I'm not advocating for it. We can't say that. But it does get a little wonky when you're watching. You're like, whoa, like I'm in a different like
Dude.
universe.
Yeah,
Um,
very well said.
yes. And she also said, and yes, I'm a little more used to waking up early. My weekday alarm is set to 5:15 a.m. Oh my gosh, this is
Oh.
when we're talking about when how DeFi is always early for breakfast. And I just like breakfast food. Oh, that makes sense. Why would anyone eat anything other than breakfast foods? Also, for guests, you should interview people with some play Pokemon medals. I've noticed that this Gremlin battler seems to have a lot, at least according to her Twitter photos. I don't know, man. Some people just straight be catfishing with that stuff.
Oh.
That being said, uh, for me, breakfast. I don't know how you feel. I like
Mhm.
breakfast food, but only during breakfast. I'm not really like a breakfast or dinner kind of person. What
Have you
about
ever
you?
had it? You ever tried it?
Yeah, yeah. And I'm just like,
Okay.
dude, I don't want to eat French toast at like 9 p.m.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I will say, throwing back to my college days. Again, we're not advocating to do anything here, but I remember definitely a few nights, like after some time with friends and a few adult beverages, definitely enjoyed some breakfast at night. So, also, this almost felt like a Ron Swanson quote from Parks and Rec. She almost got there because he talks a lot about bacon and eggs. So, also kudos
Mm,
to that,
gotcha,
Stephanie.
got you. Um, Speaking of breakfast too, a little side note. Something I noticed when we're in Australia, but it's a very reliable trend, is the tardiness or how on time people are, how punctual people are out of
For
the
call times.
commentators. Yeah, for call times and everything. Let me tell you, out of the four of us, right? Because we've gone to a lot of different events together. Myself, Speedy, Gabby, and Butters.
Mhm. Yeah,
Take
this
a
is interesting.
take a guess on for those listening, right? Just before I say the answer, take a guess on the order of who's the earliest and who's the latest. I'm very curious. Honestly, actually, you know what? Let's make it more fun. If you're listening to podcasts right now, if you're on YouTube, write in the comments right now. Right, out of the four of us, who's the earliest? Who's the second earliest? Who's the second
The
latest? Who's the latest? Right.
Yeah.
And if you're
Yeah, we should
listening
do a
to the
poll.
Spotify version, right, or Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, whatever, pause real quick. Head over to the Battle Cats podcast on YouTube and write this comment in. Should we do a Twitter poll? Uh, we can. We
Yeah,
can.
if we
Well, the
reveal
problem is
this and then
you can't do an order from 1 through 4, right? You're going to do who's the latest, who's the earliest.
true,
Yeah,
true,
yeah,
true. Okay,
yeah.
never
But
mind.
anyway,
Scrap that.
come on over, write it in the comments. I'm very curious what the guesses are, right? Start with the earliest, second latest, latest. For the rehearsals, for breakfast, for any event when we're meeting up, out of the four of us. That's myself, Gabby Snyder, Will Dunphy, and Steven Sanders, aka Butters. Will Dunphy is also Speedy, if you didn't
It's
realize
like
that by
it's
now.
like wait, it's like wait, who's Steven again? Okay. Butters.
Steve.
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 Oh, man.
Steve. All right. If you're ready, here's the answer. It's actually a slight trick question. It's not really a trick question. There's multitude of the answers.
Yeah.
Earliest is always Gabby, regardless of the
Yes.
situation. Almost always Gabby. Second
She's
earliest,
professional.
yeah, she's early, right? She's not even on time. She's early. She gets there ahead time. Second earliest, surprisingly, is actually me. I'm not actually early. I'm just on time. Like I show up when the time. Sometimes I'm early, but for the most part, I'm just on time. There's actually once in a while I'm early, but I think it's because like Gabby has like extra time. She has to be in makeup for longer.
Mm.
But that's not her fault, right? That's
Yeah, for the girls, they like do their hair and everything else, and
exactly.
Caleb Butter comes with his hair done. So
dude, you only need a minute from me, man. I'm ready. And then here's where it gets interesting. Now, if it's like an actual work event, right, for like rehearsals, call times for the actual production,
Sure.
Speedy's third. He's second to last, right? He'll usually get there like on time or a little bit after on time, but like I don't know if you should say fashionably late for a professional thing, but he's fashionably late, right? Then you got Steve Sanders, right? Mr. Butters. It's a 2-0 Butters. He shows up, dude. By the time he shows up, the production was already like, "Hey, is he awake? Can y'all check on him?" We're always like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, he's running a little late. Like his like suit's not working. Like he's got lit all over after taking out the dry cleaner, or like he's like sick from the yogurt he scoffed down, or most of the time he's not even eating breakfast, right? Because he's just like." I'm just expecting like just I'm just imagining like Butters from South Park trying to dress as fast as he can in the hotel room, right?
Oh gosh,
Or
guys.
oh gosh, guys, like or like take his time, right? Like you know, like what tie do I wear, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, so that's the order. But for casual events now, like when the four of us are like, hey, let's grab a meal, after work, let's meet up in the lobby at this time.
Yeah.
Yo, it's the same thing. It's Gabby, then it's me. Then it's me and Gabby sitting there predicting who it is. And I'm usually like, here's my prediction. Butters will be here actually before Speedy, because Butters was he'd be like hungry or he'd be thirsty, he'd be like he's ready to go, right? He's a
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
guy, right? He needs his, hierarchy of needs met, right? He needs the
Yes, for
essentials.
sure.
Whereas Speedy, I don't know what he's doing. He's just chilling up there, maybe he's calling his fiance, maybe he's just like I don't know what you're doing, right? He'll show up, right? He acts like he's on time, right? It's like 20, 25 minutes later that we're supposed to expect. He's like, hey guys. And I'm like, yo, it's about time, right? Like, Gab will say something, but she's like less like mean about it. She's like, oh, okay, yeah, we've been waiting for a second.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, yeah, we've been waiting for a whole freaking 25 minutes, right? He's like, dude, here's the audacity, right? Speedy pretend like he's not late. So he's like, no, really? Like you're all just messing with me. We're like, no, we literally said meet at like 7 p.m. It's like 7:30. Like, what are you talking about? Like, when did you think everyone else showed up? And he's
So
like, "Oh god, sorry guys," right? Like
this
the
okay.
audacity to pretend like you're on time is the crazy part to me.
So first small note, it's really funny how Butters always shows up to those social events, because like in the morning, right, like you said, he's like running in there trying to get everything together, but for the social events he's like, yeah man, I'm up, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to
Yeah.
get some water, I'm dehydrated, I'm
Yeah.
thirsty,
I'm
you
hungry,
know,
let's go.
I'm
Let's
hungry,
get
man,
some
I'm
food.
starving.
Yeah.
And for me, this particular instance, Caleb was talking about everybody. All right, let me take the stand here for a second. This was after we wrapped the show, and the Discord chat was like radio silent the entire time. I mean, I guess we're adults, and you should like expect me to show up if you say like see you in 15 minutes. But at the
Oh,
same time,
yeah, we
with
said
with
and
everyone
we
being
all
silent,
what do we Discord radio side? We're like, it's like 6:45. We're like, everyone meet down in 15. Everyone's like, yes, okay. What else are we supposed to say? We'll see you in 15.
no, there's usually like, hey, I'm heading down, or hey, I'll be a few minutes late, and then I know that I can be like a few minutes later,
Yeah, but
especially
no
if
one
Butters is
said that
later,
because everyone's on time.
which is it's rare, you know.
Butters was still late, but he didn't. But yeah,
Dude, I'm telling
dude.
you, you just gotta
Speedy is the
message me,
kind of
man.
person. He's like, "Yo, I'm on my way." He's still in bed chilling, right?
Dude,
Like
this is
eating a
this is
snack.
relationship rules 101. It's all about communication, all right?
Well, if you're in a relationship with the three of us, it's not going well, right?
Yeah,
It's not going well.
exactly. You're gonna be late to a few events.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm curious who got the stuff right. Hey, look, if you put me as latest or second or late or something, I don't take. I'm not mad at you. I get it, right? I would expect that myself. Honestly, I would expect that. But out of the four of us, dude, I'm actually pretty punctual. Not going. I'm not
You
a
are.
morning person by any means, but I
Uh,
will like on work events. I will be on time. I'll get up, right, for the most
oh,
part.
here's what we can do. Here's what we
Yeah,
can do, Caleb. Why don't we launch a Twitter poll? But this one will be about breakfast, and we'll just ask who is fully dressed when they come down to eat breakfast, and who isn't. I'll give everyone a hint. Only one of us is consistently fully dressed every single time, eating bacon and eggs in a full outfit.
that's true. Yeah. Maybe having some coffee, maybe have some jam, having some hot sauce, anything that could spill on the outfits.
Dude, it's perilous,
Person.
man. This person always gives me anxiety.
Well, You not showing up is the real anxiety inducer, but here we are.
Yeah.
Anyway, 8Chip5 says, in quotes, Trevenant beats all the steel types. I guess like maybe I said that or you said that in the last one.
Oh yeah.
Shadow Mawa enters the chat. Fire Fang. Great podcast, guys. Keep up the great work. Yeah, no, that's actually very valid. Although I feel like Trevenant even has some win cons against Shadow Mawa if you land a Shadow Ball, which is
True.
again why it's so strong, right? Like even against Skarmory and against
Mhm.
Altaria, that Shadow Ball coverage is so nice. That's why you need something like a Noctowl or like a Mandibuzz to check it. Kind of nuts,
Mhm.
right? Or Umbreon.
Agreed.
Like even Sableye, that matchup's not great. But yes, you're right. Shadow Malvo, dude. That's like kind of like a one and done kind of thing, right? Like I don't think anyone else could pull off what Zaburgla did, but we'll
True.
get into that. At the 20-minute mark and 20-minute 8-second mark in this podcast, Deborah said, Speedy, did you think we wouldn't catch the Defy slip up?
Oh, dang it.
Also, for movies, I'm going to have to echo Ryan. Everything Everywhere All at Once is amazing and it has 11 Oscar nominations. I'll also recommend Parasite won Best Picture and 3 other Oscars at the 2020 Academy Awards. Both are great and have a mix of a uh a bunch of genres. Here's the thing,
Mhm.
Deborah. 100% agree. I've watched both movies actually. I watched Parasite back during the pandemic in 2020
Mhm.
and fantastic movie. One of my favorite movies of all time actually and brilliant. And also I believe the first ever like Asian produced movie like, production set to win a best picture in the Academy Awards. So
Yep.
pretty monumental there. Everything Everywhere All at Once, also incredible. Easily
So
my
good.
favorite movie in the past like year or so. Honestly, would be a shame if it doesn't win best picture, but we'll see. Right, that's coming up in like maybe like a few weeks, a few months.
Yeah, I think
Dude,
so.
actually, now that I think about it, I mean, there's no way I can sneak in, but the Academy Awards, it takes place in my where I am right now,
Dude,
dude. I'm also in Hollywood. I don't actually know how far it is, but like I might be
you might have
like
to go.
who am I gonna pretend to be, huh? Aaron saying like he's not invited.
I don't know. I don't
I mean,
know.
if he
Maybe he
is, hey, I'll
is.
try. But
Yeah,
that actually,
have his go ahead.
no, it just reminds me. I was watching this guy. His name's Big Dolls TV, and he
Mhm.
pretends to be Clay Thompson because he kind of does look like Clay Thompson. He's actually not bad at basketball and height wise. He's like close, right? He's like over
Mhm.
like 6'4" or whatever.
Mhm.
And so he snuck onto like the NBA Finals court, pretending to be Clay Thompson, shoot up warm up basketball. And he got banned. He got
No.
banned from like, yeah, yeah, he got banned from future like Golden State games.
Oh
But
my god.
and Clay Thompson knows of him and like some other basketball players because he saw the clips and stuff. And yeah, he actually like looks enough like him that security and everything just assumed it was Clay Thompson didn't ID him. Yeah, he
Dude,
went through
that's
like
amazing.
he went through like the players like arena area to like park his car and everything. It was kind of wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, fans actually outside the arena would be like, "Oh, Clay, like, what are you doing out here?" You're like, I'm just warming up and stuff. Yeah, like it's actually he actually looks enough
Dude,
like him. Yeah,
very passable then.
yeah, very passable. That's not me and Aaron, but anyway, you've seen both of those movies, right? I know you've seen Everything
Okay.
Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah, full transparency. I actually have not seen Parasite yet.
Oh, okay, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. It's really really good. I think it might be on
Mhm.
Netflix actually.
Yeah,
So
I think I've seen it listed a few times. I really need to watch it.
yeah, it's quite good. But yeah, both those movies are fantastic. I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Mhm.
It was actually on the plane to London for Worlds and
Dude, makes you
teared
think
up a
about
little bit
life.
too. Oh, it really does. Yeah, I keep forgetting to recommend
Mhm.
my parents to watch it. Um,
Oh, dude, for
I
sure.
was telling Speedy this. I'm sure the same thing actually applies to Parasite. I just don't know Korean. But if you know the native language, they were speaking a lot of Mandarin, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Dude, it's just there's so much lost in translation that I wish people could understand. Like like my
Ah.
Mandarin's not even that great because like
Mhm.
I moved to US when I was 2, so just imagine how
Mhm.
good it is. But, like, there's certain things to pick up, and man, like, if anyone ever learns Mandarin, you gotta watch this movie because, like, there's so many cool things. It's like Shang-Chi as well. Shang-Chi was like that too. There's a
Mm,
lot that's lost in translation, but they speak a lot of Mandarin in that one. But,
gotcha.
Kevin Wong says, "I think Caleb should check out, Aikuru. It's a Japanese film about even when you're old, you can still find purpose uh in your own life. In my early
Mhm.
20s and recent I'm in my early 20s and recently got a job, but I still feel lost in everything. when you guys find your own purpose, and if you're still trying to find it, what advice has been inspirational to you to keep on trying to find it? Do you want to take this one first? Oh, and
Dude,
thank you
this
for the
is
movie recommendation. I'll definitely check it. Dude, this is turning out to be like what Caleb should watch questions, but on top
dude,
comments, but also some other stuff.
you got a long list, bro. It's already adding up here.
It is.
So yeah, honestly, Kevin, a super deep question. This is like something that I think people probably spend their entire lives thinking about, and I think that as we get older, we kind of have new answers to it. Originally, or not originally, but in the past, you probably thought your purpose was one thing, but then as you experience more of life, it probably dawns on you that something else is more like your calling. I definitely recommend trying as much as you can. There's so many things I haven't tried yet, and you have to also, like, part of you has to be willing to kind of give yourself over to a new experience as well, right? Like if you're unsure about something, it's definitely still worth it to try it and see what comes of it, how you feel about it. But my personal philosophy is that we make our own purpose in life, and however big of an impact you think you can make, you should go for it. I i don't really believe I don't really believe in like a predetermined destiny, in the sense, like, I don't believe like everything in my life is going to be scripted, it's just going to happen, because first of all, that's, wild. I've already had way too many blessings to be like a regular person, in my opinion. So I take everything as like, uh take everything with a huge amount of gratitude. But I do believe that you meet certain people in your life when you should meet them.
Hmm.
So, like, if you have like a partner for a little while, or if you have a friend in a certain place that you live, I feel like you meet that person when you should, and they teach you things that you need to learn at that point. And if you met them at a different point in your life, it wouldn't make as much sense to you. And maybe if you reflect back on that, that'll help. Try to take some lessons there. But yeah, this is a super deep question. That's probably all I can say about it. I probably gave Caleb enough time to think about it as well. So let's see. Let's see what the master has to say.
The master. I'm the master of what?
Of life, dude. Come on.
Oh wow, what a title. I mean, I'll take it, but
What a
I don't know if I
compliment.
deserve it. Yeah. Yeah, we're both 31, so we've been around for a hot second too. Um, we're both on our way to close in on 32 actually.
Dude.
Um,
Ugh.
but yeah, we're actually only like a few weeks apart in age, right?
Yeah,
You're
I'm in
March.
March.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in April. So,
Oh, dang.
but it was actually
420, blaze it.
dude,
Just
dude,
kidding.
dude, it was so. Dude, side note, we're in Australia. We're hanging out with Frosted Caribou, right? Shelby,
Uh,
if for those that don't know, she's one of the TCG casters and great YouTuber and everything. And dude, I'm like trying to give she's like trying to figure out what my birthday is, and she said her birthday is December 1st. I was like, oh, I was born on the same like day of the month, right? I'm also born on the
mhm.
first. She's like, oh, she's like, when's your birthday? I was like, well, take a guess. And so I was like, it's a holiday, right? And her and Speedy are trying to figure this out, and I'm like, I was like, they're like, oh, when is it? I was like, well, and I say it's in the month of April, month of April, and
Mhm.
so they're both like, huh, like when is it, right? And I'm like, literally, like, I told you the date, I told you the month, like, how do you not figure this out? And they're like, oh, I don't know, is your birthday on Easter? Like, is it like 420? Is it like, I'm like, what are you talking? I literally gave you the date, right? Yeah, sometimes Easter can fall, I guess, on April 1st, I believe,
Yeah, it
but
can.
it's just April Fool's Day, man. International
Dang.
holiday, if I do say so
Dang.
myself. Some
It's true.
you all were fighting against it. I was like, just because you don't have vacation for it doesn't mean it's not a holiday. Like, you don't get vacation for Valentine's Day or Halloween, right?
Yeah. You said it's a holiday. We were like, oh, is it like a time off holiday? Is it like a pseudo holiday? Like, Leif Erikson Day,
Everyone knows. Everyone knows. For the most part, everyone knows about it, right? I know in
For
China they
sure.
knew about it because when my mom was
Yeah.
giving birth, they're like, "Oh my gosh, this son's born on April Fool's Day," right? I know they know about it in Australia, so that's just a couple of
I was gonna
places.
say, did they joke with your mom? Be like, Miss, it's a girl. April Fools.
Dude, I don't know how Chinese humor really works, but I doubt it. So I
Yeah.
don't think so. The joke was really on her because I was supposed to be born, I think, on like April 5th or 6th, and my mom's
Ah.
birthday is April 9th. So she was
Oh.
like, "Oh, like maybe I could like keep them in there for like a few more days so we have the same birthday, right? That'd be kind of
Just
cool."
line it up. Yeah.
Joke's on her. I'm out early, baby.
A whole week early.
Surprise. Yeah. Joke's on you. Anyway, so yeah, great question, Kevin. I will say so. Actually, you said something really interesting, and maybe I would just want to make sure I fully understand it, Speedy.
Mhm.
So for you, you're almost of the mindset of people will come into your life when they're supposed to, kind of in some ways, right?
Yeah.
It's not like
Mhm.
prescriptive, but it's like there's some like meaning behind when they show up in your life.
It's almost like if you ever, my aunt actually studied the law of attraction, and I've watched like a few videos on it, read a few things on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of similar to that because I think that your mindset does affect what you see in the world at a given time.
Mm,
So I think that like
I
if
see.
you yeah, if you're like struggling with something, you kind of gravitate towards other people that are also struggling with the same thing. Or
Yeah.
if you need help in a certain area, you might look for that help. And it's all subconscious, right? You don't actually realize it. But I think it's important to like take those experiences and build on them and not to stay excuse me, not to stay stuck in a certain place if you can move if you can help it, right?
Got you. That actually reminds me too, because I was a psychology major undergrad, and I also studied behavioral sciences in my master's degree.
Uh-huh.
And they found that it's like kind of related, but if you see someone smile, you're more likely to smile. Like reflect that.
Sure.
Cause and that's I was like, whoa, I was like, is that weird or not? But if you think about it, imagine if you go through a single day in your life where you see not a single one smile, single person smile. It's like a very gloomy outlook, right? You're not gonna be
Yeah.
smiling too if every single person on the street, every single person you see on TV, everything you see on YouTube, whatever, people you see at home, no one's smiling the whole day. It like impacts the entire mood you might have, right? So like there's a lot of
Mhm.
things where like smiling is contagious, but so is like maybe being in a bad mood or being like having a scowl face, right? Stuff like that. So I think
Yeah.
along those lines, like I think you're right. There is something to it in terms of where you gravitate towards, right? They
Mhm.
have like a lot of those phrases too, like hurt people and stuff like that, and blah blah
Sure,
blah, right?
sure.
Like you see some people that are very positive in life, and they attract a lot of positivity a lot of times too.
Yeah.
Um, Interesting. Yeah, I think the way I thought of it, but I think I like your perspective too, is the people you meet and the things that happen like for me, I think it's like more so like like chance and coincidence than anything else. But in
Oh.
my mind, I think that's like even more incredible, right? That like for instance, like you meeting your fiance, right? Like
Mhm.
you happen to maybe see her streaming or she saw you streaming and you
Yep.
messaged her, right? And like you start talking,
Mhm.
right? But what if you never sent that message, right? What if you never saw her stream? What if she never saw your stream?
For
I don't know.
real.
What if by the time you saw her stream, she was already in a relationship with someone else, or vice versa, right? Like so many
Mhm.
things could have not happened, or
Mhm.
people that you meet in life. Like if anyone ever thinks about how they met someone, right? Like, oh, I just met this person because like they're a mutual friend of mine, and they invited to this event, and that's how we met, and then now we're married or something like that, right? Something
Yeah.
wild, or now they're my best friend or whatever, someone I talk to every day. Like the
Mhm.
odds of ever meeting someone in this world and then end up building that connection to like you give me that look, but like to
Dude,
do
it's
like for
crazy.
like the cascading effects of all the possibilities to end up where you are, it's just so incredibly slim. Like there's like literally like one sliver of possibility that you might end up seeing this meeting this person, but the
Mhm.
fact that they do, like it makes it even more incredible, right?
Yeah.
um but it's just like everything in life, right? Like like if I never got like either of us ever never got like an invite to commentate, I don't know, what would we be? I don't even know if
Yeah.
I would probably still be doing the podcast. Maybe I would
Mhm.
be doing it with Speedy. I don't know, because I was just doing the podcast right with Zion, but I don't know what we'd be talking. We're like, man, did you see that
Yeah.
events, right? Like, blah blah. Instead of like we were actually there, right? So like, there's so many things that could have changed in life because of that that you just can't
Yeah.
predict, right? We became content creators not expecting to do this, right? I didn't
Mhm.
even know it's a possibility. I was just like, I'm just gonna make YouTube videos or whatever, right, and stream.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. What if you decided like put down Pokemon Go one day out of the past 6 years? What if you just decided one day to just put it down and you didn't pick it back up?
yeah, exactly. I did that for the first time when I was flying to Australia.
Yeah.
first day I lost all my streaks in 6 years.
No.
But
Wow.
it's fine. It was worth it. Yeah. Well, I would say almost 7 years actually now at this point. But so yeah. Anyway, to go back to your question, like Kevin saying, I'm in my early 20s. And recently got a job. I still feel lost in everything. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is I feel like the generation before us, right, or maybe two generations before, stuff like that. Especially in the United States, at least, the general career path was typically like you work in a job and you work in
Mhm.
the job for decades, and then you eventually retire if things go well. That's it, right? That's your career.
Mhm.
But I feel like those in our current generation or in the working class right now, there's a lot of movement, right? You might work in some field and you switch to a different one or completely different like positions with different companies, right? You don't do this like I'm gonna work in this one company for the rest of my working life, right? Or one or two companies. And I think that's fine. I think it's scary though because there's a lot of uncertainty to it, but I think that's the general trend that people have these days. Maybe people are more curious or it just looks better on resumes to have a whole different skill set, like a bunch of different skill sets rather than just one. Obviously, for more traditional types of jobs, like maybe being a doctor or a lawyer or stuff like
Mhm.
that, dentist, vet, like you have a more traditional career path of going through school and doing all that stuff. But I think for a lot of majority of careers, it's not the case. And I don't know. I think there's always a level of uncertainty to it. I think it's
Mhm.
more so try not to compare yourself to others, right?
Yeah,
Because they
good
always say
advice.
like comparison is the thief of joy, right? And I think
Good
that's so
advice.
true because if you're like, oh, like I'm looking at this person, like they made it there, right? I think like it could really get in your head. I do that too. I still do that to this day, even though I try not to. Right? It's
Mhm.
easy to compare yourself to others and be like, man, I want to be there, right? Blah blah blah. But like, I think part of it's just like kind of count your blessings and just do your thing. And if you do it well, if you continue grinding through, like things will a lot of times work out in your favor. But again, like the
Yeah.
unknown is very weird, right? You think if I told myself, like we're 31, right? It's not like we haven't been working for a while. If I told myself after I graduate college at 22 that I'd be doing this 9 years later, right? No,
Right?
wait, 9, 10 years later, I'd have a
Oh,
career path change, and that's why. Like it's doing this. No, dude, Pokemon Go
that's
wasn't even out
wild.
back then. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
so there's no way, right? I was thinking about doing completely different things back then too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just I think the big thing is it's okay if you don't know your purpose in life, right? It's okay if you don't
Yeah.
know what you want to do. I don't know if I really know, right? Like, is this
Yeah.
our last type of job? Are we just going to be
No,
esports
absolutely not.
commentators and content creators? Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe not. Who knows, right? Oh,
Yeah.
we got
There's a lot
deep
of
there, but that's a great question, Kevin. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I still want to do, right? A lot of things I
Mhm.
still want to try. And I think I've gained a lot of perspective over the past year as well. And I feel like it's really important to make the most of it. Like Caleb and I are coming up on 32. Dude, I'm feeling so much urgency in so many areas of my life to actually
Mhm.
get things going. Because even though you can project, right, and you can say, oh, well, my dad is in his 70s, like I still have another 40 years of life. But then
Mhm.
again, like we're only this age with this mobility for so long, and I can
Mhm.
already start to like feel a bit of the wear and tear as I get a little bit older. It's like, damn, I just imagine my college self who would like go to class all day, and then I would go to the gym, and then I go to like band practice, and I play flag football for an hour. Then I like go play ping pong for an hour after that. I sleep for like 4 hours, get up and do it all again. Like I have
Dude,
so much energy,
you're
right?
kind of doing that in Australia. Not gonna lie, this guy was
Dude,
running on fumes.
Australia was a burner for sure. Um,
Yeah.
but again, trying to make the most out of it all, right? You said something really interesting, Caleb. You said that comparison is a thief of joy, and I sincerely do believe that. Comparison leads to frustration, and frustration can lead to despair. And if you're like constantly in this state of despair, like I'm never going to be successful, I'm never going to have like a full time Patreon community, I'm never going to like travel to events, there's no chance I'll ever do this, blah blah. If you get into that mode, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
Mhm.
You're constantly tearing yourself down. So not only are you trying to achieve your goals and you're fighting against every other obstacle there, but now you're fighting with yourself.
Yeah.
And there's like this really tough balance of being centered and doing what you do best. Like you said it earlier as well, putting in the work, doing what you do best, but also like being aware of what's going on around you. And you have
Mhm.
to have like, as strange as it sounds, you have to have more of like a centralized focus on yourself, and that will like power you where you want to go more so than looking at other people will ever help you.
Yeah.
You know, it's
It is good
tough.
in some ways to like see how you measure up to people, but don't let it get
Yes.
into your heads a lot, right? I'll say this too. I said this before, so I'm not even like joking about it too. But I'll be like, oh, one of the best commentators, especially in Go, is Speedy, right? And so I'm like, man, I'm like watching how he does stuff. I'm like, dude, these are things I can improve upon, right? And so I think like using that as like a benchmark or something to like measure up against is always good, so there's room for improvement, right? You don't want to be in the mindset be like, dude, I don't know, man. I'm almost as good as Speedy too, right? No big deal, right? Then you're never really improving. Or for me, I'm like watching back the VODs. I'm like, man, like I could have done this better, or blah blah blah.
Yeah, me
And I
too.
think that self reflection is really really important, right? Because then,
Mhm.
dude, if you look at my commentary from like last week in OCIC compared to EUIC, man, it was rough. We're
Dude,
saying side by side in Europe, right, in Germany last year, and it was I was way more rusty. I mean, I think we're both a little rustier, but
yeah.
I was like shifty eyed and everything, right?
It was a different time.
Mhm,
And like again, to you and Butters credit, you guys have come so incredibly far. You've always had your strengths, but you guys, again, like you watch me and you probably watch Butters and Gabby. I watch the three of you, and just the difference is really remarkable. And you
mhm,
guys don't even really appreciate it. I know you don't because I can see it from the outside, right? And then of course, like you want to look at other commentators. Like I really, really do sincerely look up to Rosemary Kelly,
mhm,
aka Necra, and I watch what she does and how eloquent she is. And sometimes when we're like backstage at an event, she will be taking extra notes. And I'm like,
mhm,
Rose, what are you taking notes on? She's like, oh, I'm actually like, I did some research and I'm looking back on these players' histories and I'm like making mental notes for myself. And like
mm,
those like little cues that she does, that's the work
yeah,
underneath what makes people really good.
mhm,
And a lot of these people that you look up to, no matter what industry you're in, they also do that same kind of work. So,
yeah.
like Caleb said a few minutes ago, if you put in the work, if you grind for it, you make a lot of progress really fast.
Yeah, no, most definitely. I mean, Necros is straight up professional, and it really
Straight up.
shows. But there's a lot that you don't even see behind the scenes. I would say too, I roast Butters a lot, but he does a lot of prep work too, right? It might not
He
seem
does.
like it because he's got all this energy and stuff like that, but he does his research, right? He's always like taking notes before these big productions. He's like,
Yeah.
this happened this tournament, or like they brought this last time, or like he was the meta
Oh,
last
yeah.
time, right? He puts in the work because he loves it and he wants to elevate his commentary and also provide info to people, right? Which I think is really commendable. Um, I think other people take notes as well too, but I just remember he's always like got like sometimes I'm holding cue cards just to hold them. It's blank, right? I'm like, I'm just
Yeah,
roll
me
with the
too.
flow kind of thing, right? But Butters actually got like notes on notes on notes, right? He's got like three
Wow.
different cue cards, right? So
So
gotta keep that.
quick question as we wrap this up, this part of the question here. Do you take more notes now than you used to or less?
I actually take less. I actually take
Really?
less, yeah. But I think
Okay.
it's a lot of times before the notes were like, "Oh, here are things we should cover, right? This upcoming event, be sure to
Sure.
know this," or blah blah blah. These days, I feel like if I look at a graphic to like promote events or talk about something or talk about a bracket, something like that, I can like just rattle it off on the spot for the most part.
Mhm.
I think doing this podcast also helps because really like we
Oh,
already know
yeah.
all of that. So we're like, oh, we know what's going on with the scatter bug or like the month of
Uh-huh.
February, right? So easy peasy. Um, but I do think there are probably some things I could probably take better notes of. Some of it I also like remember. I'm like really weird. I
Mhm.
remember a bunch of really little things that like sometimes
Mhm.
are inconsequential. But I'll be like, oh, I remember this happened at this tournament for this blah blah blah, right? And I just remember it occurring. So it's just like I'm sure that will actually eventually I can't keep up with that because one, there's gonna be more and more Pokemon events,
Yes.
play Pokemon events, but two, I'm just getting older, and three, like there's no way I keep track of everything, right? Um, but there's usually like I'm kind of weird with how I remember things. I'm like, oh, dude, I remember this like sack swap happened like at this event at like
Yeah.
around this time mark, right? If you need me to
Yeah.
find like a clip for you from like a worlds or like for like a international championship or regionals VOD, like
Mhm.
got you. I know the
Wow.
general spot. Yeah, I was like
Like a
Marco BM
database.
at this day around this time, right? But
Yeah.
again, it's hard to remember. But yeah, I should maybe be more on like the Butters and Necro grind. What about you?
Yeah. Dude, I take way more notes now than I ever did.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm the one
I
slacking off.
well, I have like a master spreadsheet as well where I have like a
Mhm,
ton of data I'm trying to break down. I'm really trying to get into the data side of things
mhm,
as well. Like I looked back over the regionals. I'll give this one example. I looked back over the regionals, and out of the last ones that we've had, half of them have gone to a bracket reset, and half of those resets, the loser has ended up winning. So literally
mm,
50% of the time in our grand finals, we force a reset. And then half of that time, the losers bracket finalist actually ends up reverse sweeping somehow and winning the whole thing. So it's
uh,
like stuff like that's like it's a cool insight too, because then people can say, "Oh my god, like
yeah.
this happened before, it can happen again."
Well, don't rely on my experience because it did not happen on my side of things. But I
You
was the
came
other
close.
50%. Yeah.
You came within 2
Mm.
games, which is pretty damn close.
Yeah. Freaking Zap can't debuff, man.
Dude, I know.
Um, yeah, no, that's right. I do remember you taking those kind of notes. So yeah, it's important. I think I should be better about it. But thank you for the feedback. Now I know. Now I know.
For sure.
Toshi Suzuki says the guest is going to be your Plan C Butters. Oh, they're talking about my guest for next week.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
End up not being, but that's a good guess. We actually did try to hit up Butters, but he actually wasn't available. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
we actually, I mean, having PV Poke as a backup option is like,
Dude,
or backup Plan D option, like,
that's
dude,
when you
that's
know you made it.
yeah. Well, I don't know about that. He's just a nice guy.
He's awesome.
And Toshi also says, I think it would be cool to see some regionals winners on the podcast. Yeah, that might be good.
Agreed.
Um, we try to find a balance of it because like there's so many regionals and international at this point that like it would be almost at least every other podcast to a certain point.
Mhm.
So we want to make sure we have something like having Starcon was different because he's been so involved in PP for so many years that like there's a lot we can
Mhm.
dive into. Not to say that those just getting into PP aren't worth interviewing, but there's kind of like a level of like amount of things we know we can discuss, right? That
Mhm.
we can get into besides just the regionals and stuff. So definitely something we'll think about too. I mean, we had King on, right? We had
Mhm.
Stark, we had Dancing Rob, and then we had
Yeah.
Rumor Pow was a Sylph world champ, but
Mhm.
still a tournament winner. So um
Yeah. I feel like it would be especially good to do some interviews in the run up to Worlds. So I definitely would encourage
yeah.
everybody to like check back in that or check back on that in the coming weeks and months. But
Mhm.
right now, Caleb and I don't have concrete plans. But dude, I'd love to hear from all of them before they go to Yokohama. That would be so hype.
Dude, all of them? That's a lot of people.
Yeah,
Dude,
all of them.
like 100 something people, right?
I'm,
100,
I'm
I
thinking
forgot.
like I'm thinking like 1 minute sound bites from each or something.
Hmm.
That would be cool.
Well, you go organize that, Speedy's chief. Sounds
All
like
right, I
quite the
got you.
endeavor.
I got you. I'll do it for
Ryan,
the listeners.
yeah, do it for the list. Hey, don't make empty promises now. You said you'll shave your beard too, and the people come at
And I
pitchforks at you.
did.
Yeah, eventually though. Getting
Interviews coming out after Worlds. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah. So how's your world's preparation going? As you asked him in October.
Yeah, after
Um,
we already have a new world champ.
yeah. Ryan Colgrove says too many movies to comment. So I'll say only from this past year with Oscars around the corner. Caleb and Speedy need to see these two at least if they haven't seen everything, everywhere, all at once, which we talked about, and then
This
Triangle
collapse.
of Sadness. I feel like I heard of that, but I didn't actually. Triangle of Sadness, interesting.
It was available on the Qantas flights. I almost
It
watched it.
was.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, you said haven't seen Triangle, but I saw everything everywhere all at once twice. Oh, we saw it twice. Interesting. Well, maybe I
Mhm.
should next time I'm on a plane. I should look for Triangle Sadness.
Yeah.
It didn't really stick out to me, but um, but sometimes I'm just like if I didn't see like a trailer of it before, I might not be as interested. Okay. Well, thank you as always, Ryan, for the suggestion. Um, So who is Josh says, thank you both for the answer about the reason why you can't run either version of the same Pokemon because of the same species conflict. Didn't know that was a thing across the game mechanics. Makes sense. Also, how many best buddies do you both currently have and how dedicated are you to get the ribbon? Oh, one more thing. Does Caleb
Oh.
actually watch any form of television? If he doesn't watch movies slash TV, do you just watch the static of the telly with some popcorn in hand? Dude, I watch a
Dude.
lot of TV, man. I watch a bunch of TV shows. I watch a bunch of stuff on HBO, Netflix. I've been like more so on like a reality TV show binge lately. So I've
Oh
watched like all this
no.
stuff. No, but I watch other stuff too, right? I watch like The Witcher and
Sure.
what are some non stuff? I don't know. I've watched
You
a lot
should.
of like Netflix originals and HBO stuff. I watch The Last of Us right now.
Oh,
Watch
me
all the
too.
Game of Thrones stuff.
Dude, if you haven't written a reality TV show concept by the end of this year, I'm gonna be super disappointed in you.
It's my
You're the
life.
perfect place, dude. You could
Yeah, The
pitch it.
Boys. That's one of my favorite TV
Dude,
shows
The
on
Boys
Amazon
is so
Prime.
good.
It's so
So
good. You're
good.
caught up, right?
Yes,
Dude,
dude. So good.
I've watched no surprisingly like maybe certain movies I haven't watched that you all brought up. I've actually watched a decent amount of movies and a bunch of TV shows. I watched like a lot of the
Mm,
superhero stuff too growing up, but I've also watched like all of Supernatural. If anyone knows that, dude, that's a investment. It was like 13 years of my life. Like they
dude,
started out with flip phones when I started watching back in like
that's
out
that's a
high
lot.
school. Yeah, yeah, and they like literally ended it like a year or two ago. the 100. Like I see it a lot. I see it a lot. But anyway, let's pull up these best buddies.
All right, let's do it.
I'm already predicting I'm gonna have more than Speedy, but that's just my
I
prediction.
think didn't we compare? Like
I think we did in Australia.
in
I
Australia?
will say
Okay.
this too. Fun fact: if you have a best buddy with a best buddy ribbon and you trade it to someone, it loses its best buddy status.
Dude,
You gotta start from square zero.
God, that was
Square
devastating
zero.
to watch, dude.
Yeah.
That was so
So
devastating.
for context, well, let's compare the buddy first, and then we'll
All
see.
right. All right, I'm ready. Go ahead.
Yeah. Type in buddy 5. I'm at a
Mhm.
strong 58.
You have twice as many as I have. I have
You have
26.
24. No. I have more than twice as many as you do.
I got 26.
Oh, 26?
Yeah.
Wait, I can barely see it.
It's all right. I mean,
Oh, I thought it said 24. But 26 though. What's
it's
double
8 rows.
26?
It's 8 rows plus 2. That's why I said twice as many, bro. That's why I said that.
No. 26 divided times 2 is 52.
Oh, so you have more than twice as many.
That's exactly what I said. Yeah.
So Caleb actually inspired me to do this as well. For those of you that are watching on the YouTube version, I have 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 Pokemon that are 1 or 2 hearts away from Best Buddy. And I'm going to Best Buddy them all like in succession and make a video about it. Caleb called it like a Mr. Beast style video.
You have like 1,000 video ideas that have not happened yet. We're still waiting for you to spend your dust. Like
I'm an idea factory, man.
I don't know how you have like Pokemon to use in GBL. Like, don't you make stuff? Like, I just made an extra drill the other day to level 50. Do you already have a bunch of stuff made, or is this?
Yeah,
dude, you still. Oh, I can't wait till we get to the legend segment. Oh, we're like still talking through the questions right now. We're an hour in, but dude, wait till we get to the GBL section. I'm waiting for that. So anyway, quick story. So who is Josh? Is when we're in Australia again, around the same time period when we're hanging out with Frosted Caribou and Speedy. I forgot how we got on this topic, but she was like, "What's your least favorite vegetable?" And I said, cilantro, right?
Yeah, garnish.
And she's like, "Cilantro's not a vegetable." I was like, "It is." And she's like, "It's a herb." I was like, "Yeah," or as people in England would say, herb, right? But an herb. And I said, "I mean, it's a herb, but it's also a vegetable." She's like, "No, it's not." I was like, "All right, what you want to bet, right?" Because you know me, I'm like, put your money where your mouth is, right? Speedy knows all about this, right? Everyone on the podcast knows, but Frosted Caribou though, she don't know, right? She don't know. She heard the legends, right? She's seen Speedy without the beard, but she don't know how I'm usually win these bets. Just like, all right, let's make a bet. I was like, if it's a vegetable, and then let's see what's on the line, right? And she said she wanted to give. She wanted a Zangoose. She doesn't have a Zangoose. It's like, how do you not have a Zangoose? We're in Australia. They're literally spawning the wild. She's like, I don't have a Zangoose. I was like, fine, I'll give you your first Zangoose. I'm willing to do that. And she's like, what do you want? I was like, she mentioned she had a best buddy Igglybuff earlier that night. I was like, I'll take your Igglybuff, your best buddy Igglybuff. She's like, what? You're gonna take my Mung? She calls it Mung Bean, right? I was like, you're gonna take my Mung Bean? I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take Mung Bean. She's like, dude, that's awful. I was like, no. I was like, you have nothing to lose if you're right. She's like, all right. I eventually gold her into making the bet. And we Google it. Little did you know, cilantro is indeed a vegetable. It's an herb too, but it's also a vegetable.
What? So it's both.
Yeah, but I never disagreed it wasn't an herb. I just said it was a vegetable. She said it wasn't. I was like,
oh my god.
At one point, she's like, I don't even think it's a plant. I was like, it's definitely a plant, right? Come on now.
It's
Don't make that bet now.
It's from an alien planet. So WebMD says cilantro is a fragrant herb, but then if you look here at Colorado State University, well, excuse me, no, the USDA classifies it as a vegetable.
Yeah, of course, dude. Who goes to WebMD for cilantro for classification of cilantro? That's a medical site.
It's a place of authority. That's why.
Well, so is the FDA, right? Like, come on now. Anyway, so I won that bet, and we traded, and I'm actually pretty nice, if I do say so myself. I actually gave her the Zangoose still. I spent 20,000 Stardust giving her a Zangoose, right? At low friendship because we just add each other's friends. I gave her a Zangoose for 20,000 dust, right? When I could just gave her like a Pidgey for 100 dust. you know. So I spent 20,000 dust to still give her what she was looking for, but I did get her Best Buddy Igloo buff. And the moment I got it, the Best Buddy ribbon went away, and I had to start the friendship at 0. So, so I told her
Dude.
I'll work on the Best Buddy ribbon again. So I'm if you see me, if any of my friends see me walking an Igloo buff, that's why. That's why. But and
Dude,
the ironic
devastating.
part is there was a wild Zangoose that spawns like literally 30 minutes later on top of us. I'm like, dude, I was like, I could just say it spent 20k dust. I was like,
And
just show me this one right here.
even more ironically after that, she told you that was her only Best Buddy, right?
Yes, yeah, it's her only Best Buddy. It was the funny thing. Like an hour or so later, she's like, yeah, that was my only Best Buddy. I was like, dude, I'm like
Brutal.
Thanos, man. I'm collecting.
Jesus.
But yeah, anyway, so hopefully that answers your question, Josh. I have more Best Buddies than Speedy. But if you'd actually claimed all those hearts, you'll have more than half of mine.
What a prize, more than half.
Dude, I mean, you just gotta be on the grind. I had
That's
a
true.
competition like a few years ago against House Stark and Jengos 21 on who
That's
get the most amount, who
right.
gets like 30 Best Buddies or something like that first, or 35. And so I was racing them,
Yeah.
so I was really grinding during that time period. But then after that, I just been more casual. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Kevin Wan with another question actually says, which shadows do you think outperform its non-shadow counterparts? Shadow Snorlax, I think, is an easy one in my opinion. Shadow Machamp. Shadow Machamp is huge. Shadow Machamp, like, even though like typically you want bulkier Pokemon Shadow, the Shadow Machamp is super nice. Like, it just, there's so many things that just muscles through. It used to be even better before they nerfed Rockslide. Rockslide used to be better of a move, but they had to nerf it just to like kind of balance out G-Fisk a little bit, Glaring Sunfisk.
Yeah.
But Rockslide used to be nasty. And yeah, it was before XLs too, right? I think so. It was even stronger. But Shadow Machamp, I think, is the most obvious ones as a clear upgrade. What about you?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think you named like the two top, right? The two biggest difference makers. And it's interesting because they each like excel in different ways. Shadow Machamp really needs that little slight bonus with its attack to like really punch through, no pun intended, a lot of matchups. And then Snorlax has what we typically think of with the Shadow Pokemon. It has such a large HP pool that 20% loss in defense doesn't really hurt it nearly as much. In terms of like what I think is like inherently better, it's tough. I'm looking at Ultra League right now to see like how the counterparts compare, and none of them really jump out to me. I do like Shadow Walrein a lot, but it's just slightly more offensively minded. It's not like a huge upgrade.
Yeah, I feel like anything where you can use the non-shadow or the shadow is not nearly as like a outperformer, right? Like Shadow Walrein or like Shadow Swampert, even Shadow Charizard we saw from those last week in OCIC. Like, you don't have to have it to do well, right? Whereas like you really need to have the Machamp, right? People don't run non-shadow Machamp. I've tried it before; it's just very underwhelming. Snorlax you can run non-shadow, but again, like Shadow Snorlax, much better. Those are I think the most important two. I think.
Yeah, I think Shadow Gliscor is solid in Ultra because you're gonna get destroyed by ice anyway, so the extra attack bonus is pretty nice.
Yeah, but you could definitely run a non-shadow again, like we saw this past week from Fish on a Heater, running both the non-shadow Gliscor and the non-shadow Charizard. Oniaki says Caleb needs to watch The Princess Bride, and Speedy still needs to watch Fear Street movies. Even Caleb watched those. I did watch those.
It's true.
About a year ago. You said agreed. Caleb hasn't seen any of the classics.
He hasn't. Yeah.
Dude, I was trying to watch what's that thing called? The Shining. I was trying to watch The Shining on the plane. Dude, it's just so like slow, man.
It scared you? It scared you too much.
No, I didn't even get to the scary part. I'm like, they're like still moving into the city, dude. I was like falling asleep.
Yeah.
But I've seen some of the classics, dude. I love a lot of the Quentin Tarantino movies. Reservoir Dogs, yo, that's a really underrated movie. We talked about that before though too.
I think that actually like segues very nicely into the next question.
Oh, that's true. Actually, yeah, I didn't even plan that. Michael Davis says Caleb should watch Inglourious Basterds, and you know what? I have. It's a fantastic movie. Fantastic movie.
Good.
What's his name? Christoph Waltz. Dude, his acting is like incredible, right? Yeah. Incredible. He plays the Jew hunter in that movie, and he's also in the one
Django
Unchained. Yeah, he won 2 Best Supporting Actors for 2 separate Quentin Tarantino movies. Like almost like
as he should.
Dude, it was incredible. He stole the show.
certain actors that just disappear into their role, right? And like the man Christoph Waltz just did not exist in that
Dude,
movie. He
in
was
Inglourious Basterds, his character was so annoying, but that's how good he played it, right? Like you wanted to be annoyed
exactly,
with his character. It was so good. It was so
exactly.
good. Yeah.
So many subtle things were so good in that movie.
Yeah. I don't think any of the Quentin Tarantino movies top Pulp Fiction yet. Any of the ones
Mhm,
he's come out with, but there's some really good ones. And Inglourious Basterds I really like a lot.
mhm.
Django Unchained, I kind of enjoyed it. It was a little different. I don't know. It wasn't like
Yeah,
I,
it's
I
very
liked
different.
I liked Inglourious Basterds, Reservoir Dogs, and Hateful Eight a little bit more, but
Mhm.
um, yeah, like there's some people like Samuel L. Jackson, dude. They're great actors, but they like they play like the same character in almost everything. Besides like Star Wars, right? Like Star Wars is
Yeah.
probably his most like out of character, but like because he's like wasn't like unhinged, but like most of his characters are
Yes.
like the same. So
Dude,
I appreciate him as an actor, but like he also plays like kind of the same like kind of character role in some ways.
it's like the same reason you hire Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Like or The Rock. The Rock is actually the
The
best
Rock,
example, right?
yeah.
He's the same in every
Well, I
movie,
don't know. You ever seen the
every
Tooth Fairy?
time.
Because
Oh, come
he's
on.
a little different in that one.
He's
Yeah.
trying the Arnold route. Arnold did Kindergarten Cop and a couple other things.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Now you got Dave Bautista doing something similar.
yeah.
So
Batista's
that'll be
awesome.
interesting.
I told you
I
I've
like
seen.
Bautista a lot. Yeah.
I told you I've seen him a few times in person when I was living in Tampa.
Did he Bautista slam you?
Dude, he actually, funny story, just a quick tangent. Whenever he would come into the restaurant I was working at to eat, he was always like very low key.
Hmm.
He'd walk up to the front counter
How
and,
can you be Loki? He's like 6'8".
dude,
He's
yeah, he's
massive.
huge, right? He's
Yeah.
gigantic, like not only height wise, but also width wise.
Yeah.
He's a large, large human. He'd
Yeah.
walk in. I'm telling you, dude, you've seen like Drax, right? You're used to all the like the yelling and stuff. He'd come
Yeah.
in and he'd say, um, table for two for Dave.
That's a pretty good
Very low
impression.
key,
Yeah.
very low key. And then
I
he just goes sit and eat.
I actually not surprised by that. I've seen him in a few interviews, and he's like actually pretty chill. Like The
Yeah.
Rock is like kind of like out there and extroverted and loud as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
like he just seems like The Rock always seems like he's just laughing really loud, right? That's like his
Yeah.
persona. Like Dave actually
Yeah.
seems like he's a pretty chill guy.
Dude,
Um,
Davis is cool as well. There were a lot of manatees in Tampa, and there was one random person, some random cruel person that he uh I'm trying to think of how to describe it. He hurt a manatee with like a knife or something.
what?
And the result was Dave actually put out like a bounty, and
Mhm.
he said if you give me like credible information about who did this, I'll pay you like a few tens of thousands of dollars or something.
Dude,
Like
what a great
it's
guy.
pretty cool.
What a
Yeah.
great guy. I mean, I don't know all about him. So if he did anything controversial, then don't quote me on that later. But from what
What
I've
a
seen,
great
like from
guy.
what I've seen, he's like pretty solid too. I think
No.
his mom is his mom is queer or lesbian as well, and
Uh,
Pacquiao was like saying some super like homophobic stuff. He like
oh
called
no.
Pacquiao out too in an interview. He's like, dude, that's not cool, man. Like blah blah blah. Like like can't be doing that stuff. Um,
Mhm.
but Pacquiao's like a hero for a lot of people too. But he was just like,
Yes, he
I don't
is.
care. I don't care if he is. Like
Wow.
we can't accept that. So
Yeah.
anyway, that was like one of my first impressions of him, like outside of like WWE, right? Outside of his like when he's role
Mhm.
playing Batista. So
Yeah. It's
um,
persona.
yeah, yeah. Speaking of wrestlers that get into film too, John Cena. Have you seen that? Have you seen that HBO series?
Peacemaker? No.
Peacemaker, amazing show too. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it yet. I
Oh
did
no,
watch
it's good. See
I
what I
did
mean?
watch Suicide Squad.
I've seen stuff. I've seen stuff. People just think I haven't, but I've seen stuff. I've seen stuff. All right, Twasel says, is Speedy spreading misinformation again? How is he getting 1350 dust per non-weather boosted Noibat? Isn't the base Stardust for the first stage 100? So shouldn't it be 100 times 2 times 3 times 1.5, which is 900? Also, side note, I think it's technically not actually double dust at these events because I caught a Sableye in San Diego and got 850 dust for it. So I think it's actually a plus 100 dust, which is essentially double dust, but only for single stage Pokemon. Uh, I think that's mostly correct, Twastel, but I believe at Liverpool they were legit getting 900 dust because they had like double dust event going on or something like that.
Mhm.
No, they were getting like no, they were getting some ridiculous number. It was like 1800 or something. They were actually getting, I think, like almost because they had a double dust event going on. Oh, maybe it was the plus 100. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, was your math wrong, or did you just like were you actually
Dude,
raking in 1350? per catch.
I'm trying to find a screenshot because I distinctly remember getting that much. Maybe maybe there was a weather boost, but I don't know. I'm like
Dude.
looking back now. I'm looking back at my pictures on my phone to see if I have a screenshot of it. But I swear I caught one and it said 1350.
Okay.
I'm not that old.
Well, Speedy or Tossel's continuing here. He said Speedy out here complaining about spending 600K dust when he already was supposed to spend 10 million. Shake my head,
Mhm.
dude. You've
I
been calling
know.
out. You're getting called out on Twitter too, man. I forgot what it was. I posted something and people were talking about you not spending dust too on
Mhm.
Twitter. I forgot about that.
Here's the thing, man. Everybody who doesn't have 14 million dust talks about how they would spend it if they had it, but they don't have it for a reason because they spend 600K on this or that
I
willy
mean,
nilly back and
sure,
forth.
but you're the one that said you spent 10 million. No one said. No one's forcing you. You said this yourself, right?
Bro, I'm the CEO of Speedy Enterprises. When I decide to do something, I'll do it. Right?
Yeah, his Speedy Enterprise is always late on delivery.
Hey, man.
All right.
Sometimes it be like that.
Daniel Thorpe, Danny T says, well, so I won't say this actually but the burglar's like actual
Yeah.
name is a homophobic slur in the UK. I think it was right for the Pokemon Company to censor the stream. Yeah. So our apologies for saying it a couple times during the last podcast or 2 podcasts ago
Yeah.
too. But thank you for bringing that to our attention because I actually did
Yeah.
look it up afterward and I shared it with the other commentators. I'm like, this is why it wasn't said. So I think it's actually a good call.
Yeah, I think myself as well. I wanted to apologize for saying that. I know, like sometimes we'll read trainer names, as we found out on Twitter as well lately. It's not always okay to just read something because somebody else has it as their name. So
Wait,
I do
what
want to
on Twitter?
apologize as well. Brandon Tan. Uh,
Oh, yes, yes,
I
yes, yes,
do
yeah,
I do
yeah,
want to apologize for saying it. Yeah, again, we talked about like being aware of different cultural norms and things going around in the world, and I think that was a learning experience for myself as well.
yeah. For all of us too, and I apologize as well too because we mentioned a couple times on the podcast,
Yeah,
and maybe we should just looked it up. Maybe that's the better curse. Like, why would they
yeah, maybe
censor
we
it, right?
should
Look
actually
into
do
it.
some research.
Yeah, yeah. I think in our minds we're like, oh, like that can't. That's like just a weird sounding name, right?
Yeah,
Um, but actually, speaking of different terminology in the UK, the word Peng, like my last name Peng.
yeah,
It's like it means a lot of different things in the UK, but it's actually like if you look up on Urban Dictionary, it's like it's like it implies like cool, like hot, awesome, whatever, but also implies like very like dank marijuana.
no way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they'll say Peng quite a bit, I guess. I don't know if they say a bit, but it says it on Urban
Uh,
Dictionary. Maybe Daniel Thorpe,
dude,
if Daniel Thorpe is aware of that, can educate us. But I think like
that's so
some
funny,
examples of that in Urban Dictionary, like man, that's a proper Peng right there.
dude. Didn't we have a competitor named Dank Brody in one of
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah. We did. Yeah, I
dude? Did you
actually
see my
commented.
notes?
I commentated. Yeah, what did you say? Was it say like Dankus Brody or something like that?
No,
Or
no, 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 no. I put in the caster chat. I was like, please say too dank at some point. Because that's like a meme, right? Like on Twitch, too dank. If something's too
uh,
loud.
yeah, I don't want to. I didn't want to. I didn't know how to fit it in. I think I did see your comment, but I was like,
Yeah,
I'm not about to elevate my commentary to that level.
dude. And one more like side note, insider thing. It's so
Hmm.
funny because we talked about like growth in terms of casting. From EUIC, right? We were super nervous, super anxious the whole time.
Hmm.
But I remember at Worlds, I was like sending messages in the caster chat, like funny comments about what we should say. That shows like how much our comfortability has evolved
We were
here.
trying to make each other laugh because, like, I think like
Yeah.
myself and Butters were stalling for time. So like,
Yeah.
so Speedy and Gabby were typing like different topic points we could cover because like until we
Yes.
like fill up the time. And I forgot what you said. You said something weird that like
I
almost
can't
made me
even
laugh while I was
remember.
like when I read it. Yeah, get
Yeah.
it
I was I
together.
was I was trying to make you say like verbatim, like this really
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
controversial
yeah, yeah.
stance. I
Yeah,
can't remember what it
say this
was.
verbatim, something like that. I think I tried to get you back too, but I
Yeah,
forgot
you
to.
did, you did. But yeah.
Yeah. Ryan
Uh,
Colgrove says, and LOL, RC Cola 69 alt account confirmed. We were talking
let's
about how like
go.
if you're from Niantic, just give us a thumbs up, right? But then we're like someone could just be trolling with their alt account. So
True.
anyway, we're almost
Alright.
there. 3 more questions, but these are from the episode with our last episode with PV Poke, Kakuna Matata.
Yes.
Matthew. Manning says, if Butters ever comes on, he can already brace himself for all the heat he'll be facing. True.
True,
He's
but
used to
he
it by
could take
now,
it.
man. I have
He's
him
a champ.
under. Yeah, I have him under a torch like most of the time, right? At the
In
flame
the
under
hot
him.
seat
Yeah, I remember
every
when
weekend.
we were in Australia, we're in an Uber together, and Butters started. We're in an Uber with the three of us, myself, Speedy, Butters, but then we also had CCO in the Uber.
Oh,
And Butters was roasting CCO, right? And I was roasting CCO because I usually do. And for those that don't know, he's a judge, used to stream and stuff. But and then for once, I was like, dang. I was like, Butters on it, man. He's really roasting CCO. And I was thinking, I was like, oh, for once, Butters not the butt of the joke, right? He's not at the bottom of the totem pole, not the bottom of the
uh,
food chain, right? So Butters coming out for blood too, right? And Butters is joking around, laughing. Like for once, we're like, we teamed up, right? For
yeah,
the
yeah.
double roast. So
The roast
there's
of CCO, dude, the
yeah,
most
there's a
epic stream
hierarchy
that
of
ever
things.
happened.
Yeah. It's me, and then eventually Butters, and at the very bottom is CCO. So he knows. He
Oh
knows.
my
I think,
god.
but I think CCO needs to fight for survival, right? He's trying to move up the food chain too, so he's also like trying to roast Butters back, right? He's like, this is the closest I'll get, right, to getting out of here,
Yeah,
right?
gotta fight back.
Yeah, it's like the ant versus the caterpillar, right? Like CCO's the caterpillar. He gotta take out the closest prey, right? He can't be he can't overcome the lion now. Anyway, HF5
Exactly.
says, don't have time to fully listen now, but I can't wait to listen later. Looks like a great podcast episode. Yeah, I hope you all enjoy it. It was a great
Yeah.
time having you poke on there too. And then Ryan Colgrove, final comment says, all here for Matt playing in Milwaukee. Want to see more of him on the competitive side and want to face the simulation himself. Dude, yeah, the
Dude.
simulator, man. He knows the stuff. He knows the
Dude.
stuff.
Only one person has ever defeated the simulation, and his name is Neo. So you need to watch out.
That's true. And
I
there's
think
4 movies around that one too, so it took a while, but
it took a long
it
time.
took a while. Anyway, so fantastic. We're an hour and 17 or an hour and 15 minutes into this podcast, roughly, and we have not covered a single topic besides the questions. Well, thank you, as always, for dropping questions. If y'all hate the questions, us answering, just let us know, and maybe we'll cover less. But I enjoy them, right? There
Yeah.
are some good ones. Kind of all over
It's
the
like
place sometimes.
it's a little less like Pokemon talk and more like life talk.
Yeah.
So if people enjoy it, again, like Caleb said, let us know. If you don't enjoy it, you rather just talk about like Pokemon stuff first, maybe have questions last, whatever you think, just let us know.
Yeah, just let us know. But yeah, I mean, I figure most people listen to podcasts to kill time, and boy, do we know how to kill some of your time talking about the randomest
Dude,
things in the world. Randomest
telling
things in
you.
the world. We are fresh off for the most part. Well, Speedy really is fresh off from the first ever Oceania International Championships. And for those that don't know, there are 4 international championships for the, official championship series.
Mhm.
That's the North America International Championships, typically in Ohio. Europe International Championships, which is the first one that we kicked off in last year for Pokemon Go.
Yep.
That was in Frankfurt, Germany. This year, it's in London. And then we have Latin America International Championships, which typically is in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Mhm.
And I believe it's always is, actually. But yeah, for Latin America, and then Oceania for the Oceania and Asia region. And so these are the 4. And this is the first time ever we have the Oceania one, which is cool. The first
Mhm.
of hopefully many to go. So that'll be really
Hopefully.
cool. But it was great to be there. Honestly, myself and Speedy, we got there a little bit early too. And we honestly just passed out the first day. Like we got there and in the morning, walked around, got some food. Great Thai place too, and then we just chilled. We both shared a room on the first night, so we're just chilling,
Mhm.
talking on the bed, and we just both like passed out. I woke up at midnight, and we both didn't eat dinner that night because we just woke up in the middle of the night. You passed out.
Yeah.
I think you passed out from like 6 p.m. to like 6 a.m.
Yeah,
straight.
something like that. So
Yeah.
the time difference for me was 17 hours. For Caleb, it was 19 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, we had two twins, and I remember like my suitcase was still on my bed when I passed out.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's interesting. Australia, the sun sets at like 8:30 p.m. and the
Mm-hmm.
sun rises at like 6.
Yeah. Well, it's because it's in the summer for them, right?
True.
Yeah. So that might be why it's setting much later, but dude, Australia is beautiful, man.
It's
Melbourne in
amazing,
general,
man.
like it's dude, honestly, when we're there, I was like, dude, I totally would move here if it was like anywhere
Yeah.
closer. The problem is I'd be so
Yeah.
far from like friends, family, and everyone, and like.
Mhm.
But hey, I would have the heads up scoop on Pokemon events, right? Like I'm in the future, like I'm gonna get the stuff early, right? I'm in LA, so I'm
It's
getting like
true.
everything super late, towards the
Yeah, it's
end.
true.
But
I feel like as well for remote work, it'd be tough because your time zones are so
oh yeah,
messed
yeah,
up,
yeah.
right? If you're trying to
Yeah.
like work with somebody in California, like the 19-hour difference would be killer.
Dude, it would be. I mean, 19 is almost better than like some like 12-hour difference or stuff, right? Because you're almost on the same day in some ways. You're just like a day in
Yeah,
the future. For
yeah.
also the commentary work, it'd be way too hard, right? There's no way they're gonna fly you out of Australia to like Milwaukee,
No
right, or
way.
whatever, or like Ohio. So
Yeah, no
I
way.
do appreciate all the different job opportunities that we can have living in the
Yeah.
United States. But man, that place is beautiful, dude.
So beautiful.
It was so amazing. It was
It
so
was worth
amazing.
the travel. It's
Hmm.
worth it.
Yeah,
Dude, honestly, that's probably in my top 3 places we've ever been. Maybe
I
even
agree.
top 2.
What would be your
It's
number
like,
one?
dude,
Brazil is
it's
pretty
tough.
cool.
Brazil is awesome. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough for me to say really.
Honestly, that
Uh,
Toronto hotel was amazing.
I was
Stay
thinking
tuned for my
Toronto.
Toronto Arlington vlog. I know I'm a little behind, but that's dropping this
Dude,
week.
dude,
But yeah, wait till you see my vlog for Australia, though. Oh my gosh, we went to
dude, you
like a
got some fire
sanctuary.
footage.
Yeah, we got a ton of footage. Yeah, we went to
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
animal sanctuary, which I'm really glad we did because we saw like not only kangaroos were everywhere. It was the kangaroo wasn't even the main attraction. It was just there's kangaroos walking around the road, like around the like in front of us. They weren't even caged, right? They're just
Yeah,
chilling.
yeah.
But it was koalas and wombats and wallabies and owls and everything.
Cockatoos and
Cockatoos, yeah, everything. A lot of native
yeah,
stuff. Dingoes,
dingoes.
dingoes, yeah.
Bingo.
But yeah. So definitely stay tuned for that vlog. It's gonna be a good one for sure.
Yeah. But in terms of the show, we did a 3-hour pre-show on Friday. That was the
Hmm.
first time we ever did that. We kind of, pioneered that. We had a long show on Saturday and then a
Hmm.
short show on Sunday. How did
It
you
wasn't
feel
even
about
that long on Saturday. It was about like 8 hours or so, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you feel about the breakdown of
It
the
was
weekend?
fun. The pre-show we had a lot of different talking points to cover, but it was cool. We
Mhm.
broke it up in cool ways. You battled Steve from Australia, right? User regional battle,
Steve.
and I battled Butters. And dude, let me tell you, spoiler alert for those that haven't seen it, but check out the pre-show if you don't want to get spoiled. But I battled Butters, right? And we had a gentleman's agreement. We only picked 3 Pokemon out the top 12 on our team. The
Mhm.
other 3 can be spice picks or whatever. Bastion was on my team. It's not even top 12. So I was like, easy peasy, right? And I was like, he's definitely gonna have Shadow Ampharos. So I made a Shadow Ampharos to like throw him off. Like, I'm gonna bring a Shadow Ampharos too, right? And this guy, he just brings the same 3 Pokemon all 3 games. He brought a Como-O, a Sableye, and Umbreon. He had a Shadow Ampharos. They didn't even bring it once. I brought Bastion to every single game. This guy's talking about how Shadow Ampharos is good and everything, right? And I lost 2-1, or I went 1-2. They were close, right? I think game one it was super close. Bastion to Umbra in the end
Mm.
was not able to close it out, and then third game too, I just had a bad lead and couldn't really come back from that one. But I probably could have played it a little differently to give myself advantage. But either way, I'm just like, dude, you be talking about how good Shadow Ampharos is this whole time. You not even go bring it, right? Like that's the biggest disappointment in my head, right? You could say what you
Mhm.
want, right? But you're gonna bring 2 super meta Pokemon and then like a kind of spicy Como, right? I brought like a Shadow Dragonair and stuff. I spent like over 400,000 dust like building this thing for stream. I didn't use Shadow Ampharos once because he kept bringing stuff that was good into it, but that's not
Yeah.
my Pokemon, right? My Pokemon's Bastion, right? So
Yeah, you had the Shadow Nair, Trevenant, I think, and
Galarian Stunfisk,
Galarian Sunface. So Shadow
Medicham
Ampharos
too.
essentially had a really tough time against your
I
team.
mean, the way he made it seem, oh, but Shield Shadow Ampharos could be everything, right? So I'm like, hey, let's see it. Never did. He never did. He didn't even bring it to game two. He won game one. He could have easily brought it to game two to like gamble, right? Like if I lose, I lose game three. Dude,
Mhm.
Butters, man. Cowardice. Cowardice. I can't wait till he's on this podcast. We're going to gross him again on that one. But we did
Yeah,
lose.
man.
In my mind, I was just like, I have a Shadow Empress on my team. So either way, a Shadow Empress is losing this. so, so that was
Yeah,
my justification.
and also either way, a Shadow Ampharos somehow won, even if it was bench pressure, right?
Is it a win if it never even
Uh,
came into action? I don't know.
I
I
mean,
don't know.
Shadow Mawile only came one game in the grand finals, but
Yeah.
paid off.
But Shadow Ma was actually brought, though. I will say that
That's
to
true.
the burglars' credit. But anyway, yeah. So it was cool. And what did you think about the pre-show and everything?
Dude, it was interesting. I mean, it was kind of like a 3 hour, just kind of like solo flight. If I could say it, if I could say it that way, because we
Mhm.
just kind of, they gave us a list of topics and they just let us run. And of course, production's in our ear, right? Kind of moving us along. And huge, major props to Gabby
Yeah,
for keeping us on track,
she's the
because
host.
she was the host, and as soon as I like looked through the list of topics, I was like, yeah, I got this. And the cameras went on, and all that information just went out of my head, and like I don't
Yeah, yeah.
remember like the next thing we're gonna supposed to talk
Mhm,
about. Don't remember the next whatever. And she kept us grounded and guided, so that was great. But no, I think it's interesting. I think it's a preview of what's to come, and I think that it could definitely be expanded upon. You know, new graphics, more interactive things. We looked back at like our favorite moments from the season as well, which is really cool. And I also want to give huge props to Daniel, because he's always trying to like push the boundaries, introduce new things. And from a casting perspective, honestly, it just enriches our careers, if you want to call
yeah.
it that.
Mhm,
Because now we can say, yeah, we did a 3 hour pilot pre-show. We've done all these different I guess like stream formats. We've had long days, shorter days. We've had like different experimental formats that we've casted, that kind of stuff in terms of scheduling. And it just makes it makes us more flexible, more
mhm.
versatile, and more I guess enriched in our experience. So yeah, I mean, I hope people liked it. I know it was a lot of talking. I didn't read the Twitch chat back for obvious reasons, because I'm sure people are like, what are the battles, what are the battles? And that's a fair question, right? But once the main thing here, Caleb and everybody else listening, is that we need to grow the scene,
Mhm,
because that that weekend was built for a top 16 Sunday,
mhm.
right? That's the idea, is that you have the top 16 all compete on Sunday, and then
Yeah,
you have like a full day of battles.
or
But
Saturday maybe, and then the grand finals on Sunday.
could we really fit the top 16 and all the group stages into one day though? Well,
Well,
we
no,
do
no,
that
no, no, no,
Friday,
because
Saturday,
the
and
first,
Sunday.
yeah, because the Friday would be a lot of the battles, right? And then top 16 would
True,
be,
true.
yeah,
Yeah, so Friday, so again, if we had
yeah,
more players signing up, we'd have
yeah,
Friday battles,
mhm,
all day Saturday battles, and then a huge grand finals on
yeah,
Sunday. So I think that's the most important thing. And I think having like making the game more accessible, like we did with our video tutorials that we
mhm,
made for TPCI, and then all of our discussion points about like how people won their games, like how champions got to be there, that kind of stuff. I think that's good, because it helps
yeah.
people to like see and understand a bit better.
Yeah, Australia is also a little bit harder to get to, so we understand
True.
why there's a little bit less participation in that one. But maybe down the road, some people might be interested in traveling there. I mean, it's a great like vacation spot too, right? If you plan out ahead of time, like, hey, that's a cool. I mean, it's a cool place to visit, even if you don't win, right? So it might be worth traveling to and just competing while you're there. Why not, right? Make a vacation
I
out of it.
agree.
So we'd love to
Mhm.
see that too. But also, I think the hopefully we'll have more people playing and stuff. It seems like a lot of these tournaments they're going to have more and more people. I think like I wouldn't be surprised if EUIC has a lot more people than we did the first year, and then
Mhm.
same thing for NAIC and stuff like that. So but yeah, it was a great time. Huge congratulations to Jakobovic for winning it all
Dude.
to 18-1 run. Lost only one battle the first round, and that's it. That was incredible, right? Sweeping
Mhm.
every single opponent after that. Fish on Heater with the second place finish, Val and Vish
Yeah.
third place. And I think we had King Magikarp. Was it eight? No, Agent Magikarp
Yeah.
for fourth, and then we had
So fifth, actually,
Snipe Bra for fifth.
fifth. Okay.
Yeah, because
In
fifth
the in
also
the
qualified for world championship because Valiant Vicious invite cascaded down because he already qualified.
in the challenge bracket, Bodes 86 is fifth place,
Mhm.
but Sniper did like a playoff off stream
Yeah,
to determine it.
yeah, against
So
Boats.
you actually inspired me to look at win rates, right?
Mhm.
Because this is another like piece of data that we can use, we can break down in terms of how these champions stack up. And dude, I'll tell you what, you were farming some engagement on Twitter as well with the whole discussion about Huma Ketcherbug versus
Oh my
Jakobovic.
gosh, I forgot that could have been a T topic,
Dude,
dude.
that could be its own thing. Maybe we should do it next week, 'cause we
Maybe
have a
we should.
lot.
We have a lot of stuff to cover.
Yeah,
So
but dude, 94.7% win rate was huge for Jakobovic.
yeah, yeah, absolutely massive. Highest win rate to date in my knowledge. Maybe like a very small
Yes.
regional, someone had a higher one. I don't know, but I haven't like one that wasn't broadcasted. But
Yeah.
to my knowledge, that's the highest one. Which
Mhm.
is a little bit better than human catcher bugs, right? Human catcher bug also
Yeah.
had an incredible 91% win rate though, which is
Yeah.
wild.
At a
Wild.
distant third place at 85.7 is House Stark, believe it or not.
Really? Wait, how do you have
Yep.
this data on hand?
Dude, I grind for it.
No, I'm really curious. Tell me afterward. I'm actually curious.
Okay, I'll tell you afterwards.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't look at my win rate. Don't look at my win rate. I
I
barely broke
only
even. I got that
yeah.
GBL win rate, that 55%, just enough
Hey,
to
dude,
skate on by.
that's all you need.
Yeah, yeah. I was there for the content, trying to bring the game
For sure.
fives, right, right.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah, so it was a good time. Huge congratulations to them too. A lot of really great trainers there.
Mhm.
Ace trainer too. He hit number 1 GBL leaderboard. Did you see that?
Dude,
Like literally
he's
like
actually
yesterday.
he's actually a really cool guy. I sat
Yeah.
next to him during the Pokemon group dinner at
Mhm.
Brauhaus, and he's actually really down to
Yeah.
earth, really fun to talk to, really
Mhm.
really kind.
Yeah.
But he is a absolute animal in
Yeah.
GBL,
Yeah. But
dude.
it looks like he could lift a lot too. He could be on that physical 100 show.
Dude, he's a big guy too. He's
Yeah.
buff and a grinder.
Yeah, and has like a lot of stardust, right?
Yeah, 40
Total
million,
package.
40 million Stardust.
Dude, I don't know. I don't even
40,
understand.
not 14,
I don't understand.
40.
He has more catches than me, but like I don't understand.
Dude.
I would expect more like double my catches. He must be more efficient or something. He's probably
Yeah,
also not trading Zangoose for Igglybuffs, right? At
he
20K
probably
dust.
he probably is one of those trainers that has like a star piece constantly too.
Yeah,
It helps a lot.
yeah. That's not me. Should be me, but that's not me.
Yeah, same.
Anyway, so really cool to meet people from the community there too, and yeah, I don't know. I'd love to go back someday. We never got to see Sydney as well, and
True.
I think to my knowledge they alternate between Melbourne and Sydney for the
Mhm.
international. So we'll see.
Yeah, I saw. So when I came in, I actually connected in Sydney, so I got to see the Opera House from the air.
Hmm.
And then I got into another plane and came to Melbourne. So, but dude, honestly, OCIC was such an insane experience. It was
Yeah.
so much fun. And it was crazy to me. I don't know if this hit you the same way, but it was crazy to me when I got back last night. And I just thought, yeah, yesterday I woke up on a different continent and it's all thanks to Pokemon. I
Hmm.
just like, yeah, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. It's
It's
the
wild.
opportunity is pretty wild. It's pretty wild. Um, but here's to hopefully some more down the road. So,
Yeah, exactly.
but anyway, for those that are interested, like, hey, plan on vacation maybe for next year, right? And
Hmm.
see if you could go because my guess is also World Championships probably won't be in Japan again. Maybe we'll move back over to North America. And so for
Hmm.
those from North America, you don't have to at least like carve out some savings for that, right? For
Exactly.
that trip at least. But also, if you win it all, your trip is pretty much paid for. So
There you go. So just
there you
win
go.
easy.
Yeah, just win, just win. Anyway, while that was all happening, there was the Vegas Hoenn tour, Las Vegas.
Yes.
It was Pokemon part of the Pokemon Go tour in Las Vegas, Nevada, and yeah, let's just say things didn't go so smoothly right off the bat. So here's
Yeah.
a tweet from the Pokemon Go um, Twitter
Official
account.
account. Yeah.
Yeah, it says trainers. We appreciate the enthusiasm shown today at Pokemon Go Tour Hoenn, Las Vegas. An additional 17,000 trainers without tickets joined us at the park, causing spotty connectivity throughout the day. This led to trainers disconnecting from raids, being unable to log in, and other issues with gameplay. We ask that trainers who do not have a ticket for Pokemon Go Tour Hoenn, Las Vegas, refrain from joining us at the park tomorrow. Because it's a 2-day event. This was Saturday, right? And or not
Mhm.
2-day event. It was like you had a ticket for either Saturday or Sunday, but they're trying to make sure Sunday's ticket holders run smoothly to
Yeah.
ensure a smooth event for Sunday ticket holders and trainers who have the Sunday extra day add-on. We apologize for the issues Saturday ticket holders experienced. For details on our thank you to affected trainers, please see our blog. And I believe the trainers that were affected were compensated with a couple extra hours of play, as well as 3 additional premium passes and 3 remote raid passes that had to be claimed when you're in Vegas.
Yeah.
Um, I would say too, I don't want to go like too negative on this. I mean, obviously a lot of connectivity issues. Before we get too much into it, I do think that for the most part, from what I read on Twitter, people that had the Saturday ticket, they enjoyed the rest of the time they had once the connectivity issues eased up. But the first
Mhm.
few hours, like it was, whoo, if you're working at Niantic PR department, you're not having a great time. But
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, this is not even our cheat segment, by the way. But any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think Twitter said it all, right? A lot of
Mhm.
people, paid a lot of money to fly out there to get hotel accommodations, maybe to get like a rental vehicle, the food, time off of work. If they had to hire like dog sitters, that kind of stuff, like a lot of costs associated with getting out there. And when you sign up for something you want an experience, that's what you're paying for. And I think it was really, really tough for a lot of people to have that situation play out. Right. I will say, like, recently, the events that Niantic has put on have been really good. For example, like last year in Monterrey, Mexico, I didn't have any connection issues. That was a huge Safari Zone, and it was in Mexico, right? Like LATAM,
Mhm.
basically. And it was actually really smooth and really, really nice. And then Go Fest Seattle, also no connection issues.
Yeah.
The game was great, worked really well. I sincerely feel that the community has been sending this message to Niantic for years now that we really love the game and we really want to freaking play the game. So whatever capacity they are planning for, they should just like increase it by 50% in terms of like
Yeah.
infrastructure, and then just call it, or even double the infrastructure, because people want to play the game so badly. And I think, again, like, appreciating that aspect of it, I know it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way when they basically said, if you don't have a ticket, stay home, which told a lot of people that if they couldn't get a ticket in time, they didn't get to have that experience with their friends. I don't think that's a good look. I think that's like,
Yeah.
that's a very unfortunate angle for them to take. But again, behind the scenes, maybe they couldn't get enough cell tower support. Maybe they couldn't get those portable towers there in time or whatever. But honestly, Niantic, people love your game. They want to play it, and you should let them play it. You know, I don't know what else to
Yeah.
tell you.
It's so tough too because I feel like they're tied into like service providers and stuff, and like
Sure.
like they're not like AT&T or T-Mobile or Verizon or whatever carrier you're using, so it might be hard to
Yeah.
control that. But I think, and here's the thing, I think maybe the first or second Go Fest, they actually had like gates and stuff where people were like able to enter and not enter and stuff.
Sure.
But after that, I think they've just been using like kind of like you were just geo locked in, essentially into where you have access to, right? So like if you go
Mhm.
to this area, if you don't have the ticket, then you don't see the spawns or you don't see these Pokestops, right? And if you do, you do. That way it's easy for them. They don't need to hire like security or gate stuff off. They just like if you can't play here, then like because you don't have a ticket, then why would you even be here, right? But I think they're relying on that a little too much these days because
Mhm.
if you actually have certain areas blocked off, then you don't have to worry about the 17,000 people, right? Obviously, it would take a
Yeah.
little more money to skate off the area, but if you already have like permits to use the park and set up all this stuff in person IRL, then you have the capacity to, if I were to guess, to actually like gate off, right? Unless they have like an
Sure.
actual law in Vegas or in the area where you can't prevent people from going to the park. But like my guess is if you paid to have a private event there, you should be able to gate it off, right? I mean, like
Mhm.
how would any other live event in Vegas work, right? They're not like, oh, anyone who wants to come can come. Who cares if you have
Yeah.
a ticket or not, right? So hopefully, like, I'm not glad it happened, but I'm hopeful that from this event, the staff at Niantic had like learning moments to try to prevent it, right? Because like you said,
Mhm.
it was fine in Go Fest, right? Monterey was good. Honestly, we haven't had like I feel like we haven't had a big fiasco like this at a live event in many years. Vegas might be an
Yeah.
anomaly because so many people decided to go, and Vegas already is packed with people, right? I think they handle Seattle Go Fest really well. You had half a day in the park and half a day outside the park. So people left the premise to play outside the park on purpose because they knew they were going to get more spawns outside there. You wouldn't get any in the park. It was a
Exactly.
great idea, and there were very few connectivity issues to my knowledge.
Yeah.
But I think that's a little tougher. I think um, for the Vegas event too, or they didn't plan for something. I'm not sure. I mean, we weren't there, so we can only say so much. But I just remember we're on Twitter while in Australia, like, oh my gosh, like this is
This is
yikes.
brutal.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
brutal. I'm glad that they were able to solve it eventually, and it seems like Sunday event at least went a little better.
Yeah. Agreed.
But yeah, for those that did go, feel free to comment down below on like what you thought of the event, how it went. But yeah, I mean, overall, it
Yeah.
looked interesting from the screenshots. It seemed like everyone was getting shundos,
Shinies.
shundos of
Oh,
everything,
Shundoes too.
right?
Yeah.
Shundos are
Yeah.
like Relicanth, like Torkoal,
Right.
Tropius, Rayquaza, everything. So I
Yeah.
do need myself a shiny Rayquaza. Dude, I don't have a shiny Rayquaza at all.
Rayquaza.
Rayquaza?
Rayquaza.
Dude, this sounds like a
Yeah.
quesadilla at this point, man.
It is. Yeah. Rayquaza quesadilla. Exactly.
Rayquaza quesadilla. Anyway, so I need to get myself. You have shiny Rayquaza, right? Dude, I don't know
Dude,
why I don't have one. I've been playing the
just
game forever.
imagine just imagine you get a quesadilla and you take it out of the packaging and it's got like a toasted Rayquaza on it, dude.
Dude,
Legit product idea right there.
the way some people
Yeah,
cook, it might look like it too, man. A little burnt
it
quesadilla.
might be on accident, right?
Yeah.
But no, I do have a shiny. I think only one though.
Mm, okay.
Let me
I
see.
hit Lucky Friends with a friend recently. I was like, "Hey, let's swap shiny Rayquaza, but only when I get one." So,
No, I've got two. So I got this one and one that was traded to me.
mm,
So
I mean, before like the Shundo was like a flex, right? Like it wasn't really usable in PvP. It's good for raids, right? But now,
Mhm.
dude, breaking swipe, it could be pretty nice. I don't know. I mean, I
I
don't have the
actually
X to try it, but
I watched
pretty good.
Yonkas's video, and Breaking Swipe's ability to lower the opponent's attack actually made it competitive with Dialga in one of the situations he had. I was like,
Really?
this is kind of broken because Glaciate with Kyurem is kind of similar, but it takes too long to get there
Dude, it
to
doesn't even
get to
have
the
its
moves.
Mega Form either yet.
Not
Mega
yet.
Rayquaza would be even more busted. Dude,
Indeed.
also, speaking of Megas too, we're about to get to this part of the show, or
Mhm.
podcast, for
It's a show.
GBL, this upcoming week, you could use Megas and Primals in
You can use
GBL and Master League.
primals in GBL,
I believe so. I believe
dude. I was
so.
gonna say
Because
we were looking at this.
I looked up the PvP poke ratings. Guess what?
Uh,
Groudon, Kyogre, 1 and
dude,
2, Primal.
we were looking. We were
Dude, I don't
looking
even
at
have
the.
them. Do you have any? I don't have any
Nope.
Primal. Dude,
We're looking at the Sims
staying
like
far
2 weeks
away.
ago,
Yeah.
and the primals are broken.
Yep.
They're so
Yep.
good.
Django's also corrected us a little bit or gave us a heads up too. The reason why Groudon does so well with just straight Fire Punch into some of the flying Pokemon is because it's Fire Ground now, so you get stab on the Fire Punch now too. So it's
Yeah,
actually even
yeah,
better. Yeah. So
exactly.
great call out there. But yeah, I mean, dude, I might have to run that Mega Gyarados, man. I need something to handle this. But here's the crazy part: you lose a Groudon and you lose a Kyogre. If they land a Thunder on the Kyogre, or if they land
Dude,
probably Precipice Blades on the
on the Gary.
Gyarados skills. Yeah, because Mega Gyarados not flying anymore, right? So it doesn't
Oh,
resist the
dude,
moveset. Yeah, it's just Water Dark, dude.
such a mixed bag.
Wild. I mean, I love my Gyarados, right? It's my favorite Pokemon. Mega Gyarados used to be at the top of the food chain, but that was number
It did.
3, man. Yeah, it's kind
The
of
crown
wild.
is slipping.
The ground is slipping. I will say though, unless they're running the Dragon Tail variation on the Groudon,
Uh,
Dragonite's pretty good to both
mm,
Kyogre and Groudon, and it's a pretty cheap investment as it's like more accessible, right? It's just been out so long, like
true.
you should probably have XLs to make that one. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, that's at least what it says on PvPoke. I forgot to check the actual. I mean, I guess we could check the actual blog post, but I don't know if they actually specify if you can actually use megas or not. Or sorry,
Or
primals.
primals. Yeah.
Primals, yeah.
I'm not sure. I'd be surprised to be honest, because
It's
they're like 2,000 CP above all the megas, right?
it says Master League Mega Edition, no CP limit, Mega of all Pokemon are allowed. That's all they say. So maybe not
Okay.
primals.
Mm,
Dude, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll find
yeah.
out. But maybe
Well,
someone
we'll
said it
f
somewhere.
around.
Yeah.
We'll f around and find out.
Yeah. Speaking of that, what's your elo at too? Because this man was trying to hit a legend in Melbourne, Australia, with me and
Yeah, that
Butters
would have been
watching
so
over his
cool.
shoulder and stuff in Love Cup, but it's a little too late, man.
Yeah,
The
just not
love
enough
has hit.
time to play out
I
there.
mean, us passing out at like 6 p.m. the first night probably didn't help that too. But
For sure, for
yeah.
sure.
So
No, I'm thinking about doing a stream today as well.
today, okay, a legend push.
Yeah, Legend Push today. Yeah.
Okay, what time? I'll tune in.
I'm not sure. I have like so many things to do around the house right now, like laundry and stuff. So,
Dude, I'm telling you,
uh,
man, this
probably in a
might
few
happen. This
hours.
legend might not happen again this season, another season.
Oh, come on. Don't say that. That's the problem, Caleb. You never believe, man. You got to believe.
Dude, I play the odds, man. The odds are typically at my favor, not yours. Even the
Dude,
travel odds.
I was at 33 last season. You don't think I'm capable? I see how it is. See how it is.
I mean, dude, you hit legend all the previous seasons before the one you didn't hit it, right? We can't go off
I
of what
know.
happened last season. Yeah.
Well, that being said, we're at 2887 right now. I tanked just a
I mean, you
little
have
bit.
some time. You have like literally like 9 days
Not
left.
like 9 days, and I'm going to Knoxville, so I'm gonna be
True.
working for 2 of those, and I'll be flying for 2 of those.
Dude.
So I basically have 5 days. Be
Dude,
real.
people have got to be thinking like, why does Speedy make bets with Caleb when the gap is this big?
Yeah, I agree. I guess no more bets. Sorry, everybody.
Bleach
Sorry,
my
you
hair.
guys.
I'll bleach my hair. How about this? How about this? You think I could rock silver, dude? The problem is my
Dude,
eyebrows are black. It's gonna
um,
look weird, no?
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. If you send me a selfie,
Mm-hmm.
I will. I'll use an editor to
Mm-hmm.
make your hair silver, and you can see how it looks before you do it.
Okay, okay. I could do that. I could do that. Look, I'm open to like bleaching because here's the thing: my hair has to be bleached no matter what if it turns a different color because it's so dark. So I have
Sure.
to bleach my hair anyway. It's just going to look so
Mhm.
weird when it's going back. It's gonna be like half silver and half black,
I
right? It's
know.
gonna be
Do you
so
could have
weird.
frosted tips?
Dude, this frosted tips gonna be like frosted like 5 inches. Yeah, but
That's the thing. Like that's the thing, right? We there have to be a stipulation that you can't like dye it black when it's like halfway grown out. You know,
halfway
you,
growing out,
you,
this gonna look so bad.
you'd have
Get
to
it
leave
cut
it
off or
in
something. No, that's a
and
little,
see.
dude. This is way more extreme than your beard thing. Your beard grew back in like less than a month. This is like
Yeah, because
my
I'm a
hair is not
beast.
gonna go straight. No, that's well, if that's the case, let's just do it again, man.
No.
I mean, I'm open to some like cosmetic change, but it's got to make sense.
Yeah.
You don't think a perm would be nice? Dude, a perm would be wild. Cause like literally like my hair right now is like slicked back. Dude, a perm, I literally look like a different person.
You would. You would.
I'd be
It'd
down for
be.
that if you want to try
It'd,
that.
it'd
I
be
mean, we could save the
interesting.
bleach hair for another bet too, right? The perm makes
Uh,
more like I don't have to go through any logistics. I just have to go through a perm, right?
yeah, and it'll probably set for how long do you think? Like a few weeks, maybe a month.
No, 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 no. Perm is like it's like permanent. Like it's for until my hair grows out. Like it's not temporary. Yeah, yeah, no, like you're laughing right now. It's no for real. Like like my hair would just be like curly for like months. Yeah.
Oh man,
Oh, it seems like
that
you'd
does
be
sound pretty
enjoying that,
fun.
huh?
That does sound pretty fun.
Okay.
Yeah,
The thing is, I'm not losing these bets. Like people want to see it. It's not gonna happen. I will have to
yeah.
come up with a bet for next season. But
That's the whole thing. I'm trying to lure you into a false sense of security,
first to legend.
dude.
I actually, you know
I
what? Maybe we should do a challenge where I don't know. Maybe like we would use a certain Pokemon or something. I don't know. It's
yeah,
kind of tough.
Buzzwole to legend like Crimson.
That's so tough. I'm really gonna, dude. Well, it's tough for me too because I like make content and everyone can be like, "Why are you using Buzzwole in every single league?" Right? Like,
Exactly. I don't know. Maybe we can like think about it off recording because we've already been going for like
no, no,
almost
yeah,
2 hours.
we haven't hit the T segment, but here comes the
I
T.
know.
Here comes the
Okay,
anyway. This time around, it's a wrap, right? Right, it's a wrap this
it's a
season
wrap,
for the bet,
dude.
but we just gotta see if Speedy hits legend or not. You might need to
I
hit
got
up your fiance for some coaching sessions, man. You know,
especially in Master League,
she's a
dude.
master league beast. Yeah,
She's an absolute beast.
yeah. So anyway, what's the T? Speaking of master league, this is perfect timing here too,
Whoa, the
right?
segue.
Look at that timing here. I'm just add this into our little little thing so we can throw it up on the screen. But
Yeah.
Master League accessibility. Now, this was a hot topic. I believe. I mean, a lot of people were talking about it. I think Zionic was one of the ones that really um, brought it to attention as well. But if you see on the YouTube screen, if you're watching a YouTube version of this, you'll see his
Mhm.
tweet on screen. But if not, I'll read it off from Zionic saying, "Later today, we have the return of Master League, but without an alternative option. Perfect for players who have max Pokemon or a week where most don't play the game because of too low of 50 metas. I've always and always will voice that there should be an option for players." And this tweet it got some interactions, man. Let's just put it that way. 200, almost 210,000 views, 470 likes,
Mhm.
12 quote tweets, and 18 tweets, and around I don't even know how many comments. Around, let me see if I can find it. 113 comments or so.
Quite
Whatever
a
it
quite a
shows.
lot.
Quite a
Yeah.
lot. Quite a lot. A lot of people sharing their thoughts here too. Blah blah blah. Um, but it's a lot of people are talking about it. Obviously, a lot of people don't have the accessibility, but they still want to play GPL that week.
Mhm.
And then some people are just like, dude, just grind for it. Like, man, it's not that hard and stuff like that too. I actually
Yeah.
tweeted myself. I was like, what did I say? I said, I put it somewhere here. I said there's two constants in life: people who don't have resources to make Master League teams, and people who don't understand why people don't have the resources to make Master League teams.
Right.
Which I feel like is pretty relatable to a lot of people. I mean, they're probably in one of two
Mm.
categories. It's I don't know. It's interesting. As someone that's played as much as me, right? I'm closing out 400,000 total catches. Like
Mhm.
I have a Master League roster for level 50, but I don't have
Yeah.
everything built. Mostly because I don't have the Stardust. I actually have plenty of candy, right? My issue is actually more of a dust issue. But
Mhm.
I play the game a decent amount, right? I wouldn't say I'm a hardcore grinder, but I play more than the average person by quite a bit.
Yeah,
Just because
agreed.
for now it's my work too, but also like I just played the game a lot before I did it
Yeah.
full time. But
Mhm.
I think it's not always the case for everyone. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, so again, I've said this before. I'll say it again. I think Niantic had a huge miss when they didn't bring back Master League Classic one more time.
Mhm.
I think that was a huge
Over
miss,
a
and it let down
year. We had
it
it.
let down so many
Yeah.
people. Yeah, that was really sad. Very unfortunate move by them. That being said, I think that this argument is also a little bit different this time because the reason it's different is because not only is it Open Master League, but also Master League Premier is available.
Mhm.
So you have more people this time actually arguing like, well, you could have just grinded out Metagross Beldum Community Days. You could have
Mhm.
just, you
Dratini.
know, yeah, fought the Dratinis or caught the Dratini, excuse me, and now you could play Dragonite in Master League Premier. And I think that that helps a bit. I think that does help the player numbers because that was me, right? Like I have no problem going out, catching a bunch of stuff, like grinding Stardust events, and then using those candies to build Pokemon. The inherent like issue that I still don't totally agree with is like the exchange rate for the legendary Pokemon. It literally is pay to play because
Mhm.
unless you like no, seriously, it is pay to play because there's no way there's no way you could get the 300 XLs unless you
Mhm.
buy raid passes, right? That's the problem
Yeah.
that I had with it. So first of all, the argument's already like a little bit skewed. Also, you see one of these comments here. The other option is 2 more weeks of Lantern, Noctowl, and Trevenant. No thanks. Great League kind of sucks currently, and I don't disagree with that either. I think it is very RPS at times and not as much fun. Um, and yeah, and then again, like sometimes you don't have the XLs for certain leagues like Ultra. I know a lot of people that are like trying to be competitive. They want to play Master League, and then they're like, oh wait, I need to build like an XL Politoed, XL Kofagrigas, all these other XLs for Ultra, and that's tough too,
Mhm.
right? Um,
Yeah, Ultra League
I
is
don't
expensive
know.
too.
I the thing is, this is the last thing I'll say about this topic. I feel like Niantic needs to be less stick and more carrot. Are you familiar with the phrase?
Mhm.
They need to stop like trying to force players or punish players into certain things. Like the AR task is another example of that, right? They need to increase rewards and incentivize the right behavior. So if you want people to play Master League, the rewards for Master League need to be better.
Mhm.
Like there have to be incentives for actually like grinding that hard. And like, there are tons of ideas out there, right? Like what if in Master League for your encounter it was a Master League legendary Pokemon every single time that you got an encounter in your set, right? So
I
instead of
you
like
don't do you think people would take that well though? Because I feel like that might be like a rich get richer situation, right? Like if you can't compete, you can't win, you can't get the encounter. Whereas the people that can, they're gonna get more legendaries, right?
I disagree because like once you get the hundo level 50, there's nowhere else to go with it. Like you have it.
No,
But I
no, no,
think
no.
that
I
if
know, but like the people that can't really compete, they can't even win to get the encounter, right?
Well, I think the people that can't really compete, if they do win like 2 games and get an encounter, it helps them to build their roster,
Well, you need three
right?
games or 3 wins to get the encounter.
Or 3 wins.
Yeah.
Well, instead of like having to pay for a raid that they can actually like try to win 3 games, I think that's a solid deal. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like to hear what people think about that.
I mean, I think it'd be a cool concept. I just think some people would complain, be like, dude, like, I don't have the Pokemon to compete, and how am I gonna win 3 times? I'm not gonna spend a raid pass for the off chance of a legendary, right? Like, I'd rather have a better chance. I'd rather have the legendary chance when I'm playing Great League when I actually have a chance so that I could slowly build up my Master League roster. But again, it
Yeah.
takes, like Speedy said, it takes a lot. You have to catch a lot of legendaries to get the XLs. Like, even if you got an encounter, like, even if every single encounter you get is a legendary, like, it's still you're gonna have to
Mhm.
win a lot to build up like a level 50 legendary, right?
Yeah,
And I think also
exactly.
like Master League's also a tough one where like, yeah, like we talk about IVs like don't matter as much, but for Master League, you kind of want to have 100% or very close to it, right? To be
Yeah.
competitive. Because now here's the thing, it's not just 240 something thousand dust plus 100K to unlock. It's like over 500,000 dust now, right? In all these XLs. So like to even just test to make a legendary that isn't 100% is such an investment. you just don't want to spend all that resource to make something subpar, only to just lose in a mirror matchup, right? So
Exactly.
like for me, like I made like 98s or 96% and stuff for level 40 Master League, but I'm
hmm
a little hesitant to touch
But
that for Master League unless it's like a
when the
functional
investment,
hundo, right?
it-
Like it's like 14 stamina. It has actually the same amount of HP. It just doesn't look like it. Like I did that for my Florges for Master League, but
yeah,
I don't know if I
when
want
the
to touch that
investment
for
is
that.
doubled,
Yeah,
it's like it really
yeah,
kind of it puts a lot more pressure on the
yeah.
trainers to choose,
Almost
right?
more than double what I would say, right? Getting XL is way harder than a regular candy, right? And the dust
True.
is actually, yeah, it's interesting. I did see someone, I forgot who wrote this in the thread, but they also said, you know, people that love Great League always get a chance to play Great League without queue times and stuff. Like for
True.
once, let the people that enjoy Master League at least get to prioritize Master League, right? Because like let's say if a Great League option or a Little Cup was available, everyone probably a lot of people, not everyone, a good chunk of people would be playing that. And because of that, the queue
hmm
times for Master League is going to be longer. And then the people that play Master League are probably going to start hopping into the Little Cup or the other cup because the queue times are shorter, right? They don't want to sit in queues forever, right? So it's
Yeah.
like it's a tough spot to be in, to say the least. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm like coming around to the fact that I do need to rate a lot of things. So I will be rating Kyogre. I will be waiting. I will be waiting Guaugon. And I probably rate some Rayquazas as well.
yeah,
But I don't know. Like I understand from a competitive standpoint, it's just we want the game to be accessible, right?
yeah.
And that's
I
how you
think
grow.
the problem with the XLs in level 50, although it makes certain things like Ultra League really really interesting because you have a lot of fringe picks that are now meta because they could power up 10
Mhm.
extra levels. It just made the game less accessible, right? Master League originally to level 40 was not the most accessible thing, but you can eventually build up to it. Now, like even if you say like, oh, Niantic's going to grant more Stardust for catches and catch XLs and stuff, it's just another layer of things you have to power through. And no matter what, at the end of the day, this will always be a problem. There's always going to be people that can't afford Master League. Maybe down the road, a couple years later, more people can afford it. But at the end of the day, there's always going to be people that can't afford this league. There's always going to be people that
Yeah.
like cannot, I don't unless they're like just throwing out XL rare candies and Stardust for every single catch, like 10 times the amount. You're just not going to be
Yeah.
able to compete in that regard.
Yeah, exactly. Especially rural players who don't have gyms or communities to raid with, right?
Yeah. But if you have remote raid passes and stuff,
Oh,
there's a way
look at
to do
these
it.
segues, dude.
However,
Look at
you
these
like that
segues.
segue? You
Oh
like
my
that
god,
segue?
I do.
However, this is not confirmed yet, so take it with a grain of salt. But from Joe Merrick, he is the founder and of Cerebi.net.
Yeah,
Great resource for all Pokemon games, for most Pokemon games. Maybe not all. I don't know. For majority of Pokemon games.
it's pretty comprehensive.
Yeah, I think he was the one that broke this news first on February 20th. He said, and again, take this with a grain of salt. It's not confirmed, but Joe Merrick says, so Pokemon Go has updated the text of remote raid passes to indicate that we are soon to be limited to the amount of remote raids we can do in a single day. This is going to seriously impact how a lot of people play the game. I think this is a very bad idea. And in the screenshot, it shows remote raid pass and says pass to join a remote raid remotely. You can join in parentheses a certain number. It says 0 right now. Raids a
Yeah,
day, right? And so he's thinking theoretically it might cut it down. He also goes and continues and said remote raids literally saved the game during 2020 and 2021 and have been the driver of revenue and even player interaction in the game ever since. With this and the most recent shift away from global ticket for Go Tour with boosts to a local event, I'm just confused. They have now removed the text with the remote raid passes and set it to how it was, but the fact that it went up means that this limit is coming and almost certainly soon. We'll see how it goes.
Mhm.
So I mean, I don't know if I fully agree with Joe that like it definitely will happen, right? It certainly is coming, but there's probably a chance. And I think I can't remember where I read somewhere. Someone said like maybe it was like 6 per day. Maybe it was like data mine
Yeah.
from Pokemoners. And again, we don't
Uh-huh.
encourage people to like data mine stuff. It's just that we're not doing it ourselves, but because it happened, we can speculate and talk about it.
Sure.
As our disclaimer. But Yeah, whew, that's a people be talking about it for sure. People definitely be talking about it. What do you think about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, it's a tough week for the PR department.
Mm.
I'll say that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I
at least
mean,
people that work there because they're not making these
no.
decisions.
Yeah, true, true. They just have to deal with what leadership decides. That being said, PV Poke said it really, really well. He said that the game the players want and the game that Niantic wants are two different things a lot of the time. And we do have to credit the company for being as visionary as they have in the direction they want to bring things. But at the same time, like, I mean, my half sister's brother, so I guess it's brother by marriage, right?
Yep.
He actually went on a conference to New York and came back with COVID this past weekend. So like,
Oh dang.
it's still the pandemic is subsiding for sure,
Yeah.
but it's still like occurring around the world. And again, like I don't know if people will ever be ready to be like forced back out to go do things, but again, like he even says, Joe even says it here in a follow-up comment. He said, if you want people to go out and do raids again, you need to incentivize local raids, not nerf the remote raids, not
Mm-hmm.
punish the remote raiders, right? By limiting them. Because I do think it's a huge revenue driver, right? Niantic doesn't like to talk about revenue, but this has got to be a huge revenue generator. There's no way around it.
It's like they don't want to make money. I don't understand.
Yeah. And like I get
Like,
it, like, and
I
this is the culture. Oh, go ahead, Caleb.
no, go ahead. No. You say what you're gonna say.
I was going to say this is the culture for a lot of startup companies, for a lot of technology companies. They have a vision, right? And if they just completely cash out, then they lose sight of that vision. And I get it, right?
Yeah.
It's good to have a vision. Like if Apple just decided to like start, making any willy-nilly computer just because they could, then they wouldn't be Apple anymore because they make high quality products, for example, right? But at the same time, like, man, I don't get why. I know that the player numbers are down, right? If you just Google it, you can see like the average player numbers per month. It's not nearly as high as it has been in the past years. I know there's like a problem there. So if I'm in leadership, I'm like, wait, we're bleeding users here. We have to do something to turn this around. And this is not
Mm-hmm.
my solution if I'm leadership. You know what I mean?
Dude, honestly, like anything that people like about the game, you should never take it away. You should just never take it away, right? Like I think like the more active incense, right, where something's spawning once a minute, like again,
Uh-huh.
that like also like you shouldn't take it away. I don't even care if you double the time duration. Like if you double the time duration, but the spawns are like half of it because you can't physically walk that fast to get all the spawns, like it doesn't matter. But like people enjoyed that, right?
Mhm.
Incense was actually really useful, right? Now it's just like kind of like trash, right? Like people use their daily incense, but the actual regular incense, like who's walking around for an hour running that thing? Like you
Right?
get like 60 spawns off of it, right? But like it's just like I don't know, people just don't have the time. Like there's like it's just there's a lot of people that play this game casually, majority of people, right? And like
Mhm.
it's not their livelihood or life goal to be a full-time Pokemon trainer, walking around the world scanning these AR tasks, like doing all this stuff, in-person raids and everything, right? There's a lot I don't know. There's a lot of things to balance in life, and Pokemon Go is for the vast majority of people that play this game, not their top priority, and that's okay. But you want a game that's fun for everyone, not just fun for like a select
Exactly.
few. But
Yeah. And
again,
like
we
you
don't know
said,
if this is definitely happening or not. But if it is, dude, we always say this too, right? Like, yo, if you're someone from Niantic, you're listening, yo, like, you know, let us know or like blah blah blah. This time around, I always says, yo, if you're someone that works for Niantic, right? I'm sure that anyone that's works for Niantic that actually makes these decisions aren't listening to this. So for those that aren't involved in the decision, man, I
yeah.
Godspeed.
Yeah, right.
It's tough, right? I'm sure you're put in a tough position, and like we don't blame you, etc. It's gotta be a tough time there, and hopefully things smooth over sometime in the future. But
Yeah.
I feel bad that you may have to be put in a difficult spot, right? And you can't say
Yeah.
nothing, right? You're like NDA, you're an employee. It's like
Yeah, exactly.
the majority of I guarantee some Niantic employees don't love that too, right? But also like
Yeah.
dude, the revenue is going to drop, then they might have more layoffs. Like it's just like it's not a great situation. Dude, what?
Yeah. I
Like
don't know.
they're literally just like, we don't want your money. and on top of that, we're gonna make it worse, right? Like usually some companies will say,
Yeah.
we don't want your money, but we'll still add these features for you, right? Like there's a pro with this, right? There's like a double negative. It's a lose-lose situation for everyone, right? For the players, for the company. I don't
It's
know.
tough, man. It's tough. Like when and again, like on the flip side of this, when you say, I really want people to play the game, we really want people out and about exploring together and having fun. That's literally our mission statement. And then more people than you expect show up to Vegas and you tell them to go home. Come on, you guys. People love your game. They want to play your game. Like, let
Yeah,
them play your freaking game.
let them
And also,
play how they. Also, like this might encourage more spoofing too. Like because
it leads
how are
to
you going to
a bunch of
afford
bad
Master League? How you going to afford these?
it
Like, how you
leads
gonna
to so
afford?
many
Like,
bad
we literally
things.
talk about like they're making Master League like there's no Master League Open Classic anymore, and now we just have straight up Master League level 50s. How you gonna make a level 50 like legendary Pokemon if you don't like even you have to like max out your raise every day? But like it's just like even then that's stressful and like you might not get enough still, right? Especially
And
when they're
look,
only in the rates for like a week.
for Caleb and I, right? This is more to us than just a game. Like, this is our job security
Hmm.
for the future, right? Like, I think you can agree with me, Caleb. Like, the number one thing we want for Pokemon Go is to continue to grow, improve, and add new players, because
Hmm.
that's how we keep our jobs. That's how we keep on having these amazing experiences where you get to travel and do all these things. Like, our livelihood is attached to this, right? In a large way. So we want what's best for the game. And even though we do have working relationships with Niantic, right? And they have been very generous to us, at the same time, like, when your friend is not making the best choice, or if you like need to say something, we always try to speak out on it, because we're the biggest advocates for the players. Without players, we have nothing.
Yeah, and you make a great point there. And honestly, even if my livelihood wasn't attached to this, like I have some other day job that's supporting my expenses, wherever, like my entire social life for the most part is attached to this, like the people
True.
I talk to on a regular basis, right? Like, we talk about like Twitter drama stuff, but hey, at the end of the day, that Twitter drama is everyone from the community, right? Like I'm still, like there is no Twitter drama if you're not engaged in the community there, right? So like the good, the bad, the the everything a part of like the majority of my social life is tied to this game, right? And if it just goes up in flames, then shoot, I don't know what I'm doing, right? Like who are we gonna
I
talk to?
know.
Well, I guess we'll
The-
like like you can be like, oh, y'all can still talk and stuff, but like it's not really the same because we're not connected by the same common thing, right? Not everyone's going to suddenly
exactly.
play like, you know, the, the NBA Niantic game, right? Or whatever other game we want to play, right, from a different
Yeah,
company. So it's there's a lot of
exactly.
things. I don't know. There's a lot of things that connect us to the game, right? I mean, you met your fiance through this. Shiny Hunter
Yeah.
Ben and Harley, they got married recently in Vegas, right? They met through the game.
Mhm.
Like, there's a
You're
lot of things tied to it,
you're
and
next after us, dude.
how about next? But just in general, I just think like it's yeah, even out of like selfish reasons aside, there's just the game impacts people in so many ways and it's just unfortunate if it goes down this path. Of course, again, we don't know. We don't know, and honestly, it's a good way for them to get the feedback they want by just testing it
Oh,
by throwing it,
yes.
right? Like, yo, props to Niantic if they use that as a metric. I mean, I don't love it, right? It's unfortunate they had to go through that method, but if they did do that and then end up rolling back that possible idea,
Yeah, exactly. I hope that they are listening and
that's the best
watching,
case
right?
scenario. Yeah.
It's like, if you encounter like a wasp nest and you like poke it with a baseball bat, that's usually a similar result as you get to like, knocking it down
Yeah.
completely. So I hope that they're like seeing
Knocking
this
down
and
is
saying,
way
"Oh,
worse. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. If you just poke it and four wasps fly out, then you better run."
They poked it. There's more than 4 wasps that flew out, but trust me,
Dude.
the hive is even bigger if you knock it
The
all the way
the
down.
the
So
tw- the Twitter hive is already on fire, so
yeah, yeah. So again, and from a personal like perspective, I don't do that many remote raids. You do way more
Mhm,
than me. I actually don't do like I
mhm.
almost never do remote raids, but I'm not like a
Yeah.
big Master League grinder. But for those that do love Master League or want to get a Shundo, Shiny Hunt, get 100%, whatever. Like people play the game for different reasons, not even for PvP, right? Like I'm thinking about like Fleece King, right? Like loves to like catch all these legendaries and stuff, and like there's no way he can keep up with the grind he's at. by just doing them in
Mhm.
person or doing 6 a day, right? And then it gets
Yeah.
weird because then people are like, they might want to help a friend out, but they don't want to spend their pass on it, so they're not going to. It's just,
It's yeah.
dude, they're literally just like, this is our cash cow, and we're gonna get rid of it. Like, what? It's just wild. Please. I know me saying this won't change anything. Please hire like a consultant, like for your business. Please. It would go so far, right? There's no way any logical business consultant is going to look at your business model and be like, that's the right
Yeah.
decision. That's the
Yeah,
right decision.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Sell these terrible
guarantee
boxes on top of it. Like, it's just like this.
I I guarantee the answer is not gonna be punish players. It's
Yeah.
going to be encourage people to play more.
Yeah.
So,
We'll see.
I don't
I mean,
know.
look,
It's
fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. They're just like, it's just like a bad idea that they realize it's a bad idea and they're not actually gonna do it. Fingers
mhm.
crossed. But
There's so many levers you can pull too, right? Like
uh-huh.
if you're just I'll spitball one thing real quick. I know we've been going for a while. I'll just spitball this. Let's say you want to incentivize people to get out and play more. Again, this is just off of the top of my freaking head. Just thought of it, right? Imagine you want people to play more in local raids. Why not for 1 week you have a raid event where you limit the number of remote raids you can do for a week. However, if you do the raids in person, your rewards are like increased by 50%. Or maybe it's like a guaranteed poffin or a guaranteed rare candy XL at every single one of these raids that you do. So then for like 1 week, you have like an in-person raid week, and it's like, oh, it's really cool. Or even like an
Mhm.
in-person raid day. Instead of raid hour, you have like something different, right? There are levers you can push and pull, but like this idea of like a categorical nerf to remote raid passes, like we've been talking about for the past 20 minutes, it's not conducive to player growth. It's going to
No.
make people mad.
Yeah. It doesn't help grow. It only hurts. Like
It only
there's no
hurts.
actual positive to it. Like there's actually none. Like there's not like more people going to play if we do 6. More people going to raid if we do 6. What? Like how?
Right?
I don't understand. I literally don't understand.
Yeah.
But those absols spawning at noon though for 5
Oh,
minutes,
dude.
that's a killer.
Yeah. Lovely.
I don't even know what that's about actually. I have not
I
caught a single
I have no
absol,
idea.
but they spawn absols at like 5 like for 5 minutes
Bro,
at
we
like
got
noon.
we got events stacked on events, stacked on events. It's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. We covered a lot of stuff too. This whole thing was like a T segment plus Q&A from the questions,
Right.
but we appreciate anyone that stuck around for this long too, because we've been going on for a little over 2 hours, and
Yeah.
you know,
It's been good though.
if you're listening to Kill Some Time, we got you. We got you.
Yeah. Or if you're working doing something else, thanks for bringing us along for the
Yeah.
ride.
Imagine if you're actually a Niantic employee, you listen to this while working.
Whoops.
There's no way. There's no way. That'd be hilarious though. Dude, I again blink twice if you know if you're there.
If you're out there,
If
send
you're
us
out
a
there.
signal.
Dude, imagine us saying this for like this many episodes since literally 0 Niantic employees listen to this. I would just talking
Hey.
to no one.
Well, the recordings are always there. They can always go back.
Yeah. Go listen to hours of VOD of our podcast from before.
Exactly.
But anyway, congratulations to those that guessed correctly. Who's the most punctual? Who's the tardiest out of the 4 of us from earlier?
Yes.
Cannot. I feel like there's gonna be at least one person that guesses right. Maybe not actually. People.
Yeah.
Maybe
Could
not.
be.
We'll see. But best of luck, Speediest Chief, in not only your travel to Knoxville in 2 days and commentating, but also best of luck in trying to hit legend while doing all that. And
We got this.
best of luck when you meet Palmer's up for the first time. I think,
Dude,
dude, I
it's
feel
gonna be
like it's
life
too hard
changing.
to keep up his charade. What is it? Shroud?
Charade.
Is it charade?
Charade.
Like shroud of mystery of what he looks
Oh,
like?
shroud of mystery,
Yeah,
or
his shrouded
charade is like
mystery of
a
his
different
face,
thing.
right? I'm trying to think of the word. I
Yeah.
don't know. It begins with a SH, I think, or it
I mean,
sounds
I'll
like it.
I'll keep doing it. I'll
I
when I
know,
take a
but like,
selfie with him,
there's got to be like
I'll
group
cover it.
photos and stuff, right? I don't. Maybe people will be like, "Oh, I'm in on it now, so I want to like put
But
emoji
would
over
you
his face
know?
too."
Would you even know if he was in the group photo?
Oh, that's actually so true.
Unless you know every
That's a
single other person
that's
in
a
the
huge
photo.
point. Yeah, that's actually a really good point. You might. I mean,
Howard.
a lot of these people go to the same events, so you might be able to figure it out, right?
True,
But
true.
that's actually pretty funny. You're right. Yeah. Yeah. If you take honestly, if you take just a picture with him, just a selfie with you and Polly, no one knows him either. Like
Nope,
unless you
unless I
tag him.
say it.
Yeah, you could
Unless
just
you
be
say
like,
it.
oh, like meta fan, right? Or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's actually a good point. So maybe it could still say hidden. But anyway, I'm sure someone might ruin it on Twitter or something. But
Yeah, eventually.
best of luck. Best of luck. I'm curious what you think.
Dude, he's a cool guy. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fun.
It's always the voice a lot of times don't match what you imagine.
Sure, sure.
Because you know his voice.
Does he talk like this? I'm just kidding. I know he
Come
doesn't.
on now. Come on now. But anyway, best of luck commentating that. I'll be tuning in. It'll
Thanks,
be
man.
one of 2 regionals remaining where people can possibly win it all with an Ampharos.
All right.
This and dude, it's not Bochum. It's like Balcom or something like that. Dude, I
Bacham,
I literally heard the pronunciation yesterday because I was editing I was clipping something for a YouTube video from the Liverpool regionals, and one of the commentators
Ah,
actually said it in proper pronunciation because I think it's
Bochum.
Bochum. Is it
Bochum.
Bochum? Well, he pronounced it
Yeah.
differently. Maybe it's
It's
pronounced like
Bowkm. Bochum.
Bochum. But anyway, Bochum, Germany. These are the last 2. The last 2 possibilities of an Ampharos winning it all. And guess what?
Mm-hmm.
It ain't gonna happen, yo. I've been saying this
Uh-huh.
forever. It ain't gonna happen. We had one at OCIC from Steve, to my knowledge, and it didn't happen.
Yes.
It was so bad. Butters did not bring it in our exhibition match. I'm telling you all.
Well,
That's how
you
bad it
know.
is. I didn't
You
even bring in our
know.
exhibition match. I spent like over 100,000 dust making that thing. It was 90K to unlock your second move, man.
Rough.
I did it for the content. I did it honestly just to see his reaction. That's it. I literally built it just to see his reaction. We saw my team, and that was it. I shouldn't have even built it. I should just said I
Yeah,
powered it up. But who knew?
that was
I was like,
great.
maybe there's a chance that Fly come in handy. Dude, I was right. What was I thinking? It's
Yeah,
useless.
that was great. You actually powered up your Shadow Dragonair on stream. That was cool.
Yeah, 200K plus another 90K to invest in it to second move, dude. Like I said, I spent over 400K dust, man, for that one exhibition match.
Yeah. On 2 Pokemon, right? So then like 14 million goes by pretty quick if you're spending that much.
Like no one said it doesn't. You're the one that said you're spending 10 million, right?
I know.
We'll see.
That's because I did the Wolf of Celadon City like a year ago. People like that. Let's gonna do it again.
All right. Well, anyway, best of luck. Hopefully, your travels don't take twice as long like usual, and we'll catch you all next time. But tune in to the official Pokemon Go stream this weekend for Knoxville, and I'm sure there'll be maybe a counter stream for Volcom as well. So, I'll be tuning in because it's almost time.
It's almost time.
Ampharos o'clock. But yeah, have a good one and peace out.